You've almost made it, or depending on what your weekend plans are, you have made it, and you're just up extremely early on a Friday morning, 6:03 a.m. We wrap up the week. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, Friday morning. Up and Adam, a kind of quiet night last night, except for the NBA, where a couple really good games taking place. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I actually kind of enjoy seeing the Timberwolves back in the playoffs. I haven't watched a single second of their game, Patrick, so I'm not going to pretend like I'm some kind of huge Timberwolves fan, but it is nice to see a franchise like that. Kevin Garnett was how I remember him. Stephon Marbury, seeing him back in, but it has been the Ja Morant show. And last night, 41 minutes, 16 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, triple double. And that's what Jess weighs in with this morning on our text line. Morning, guys. Patrick, I'm becoming a huge Memphis Grizzlies fan and a fan of local guy Ja Morant, becoming an NBA fan again. Love watching Memphis play. Glad to see them get the win last night. Have a great weekend. You as well, Jess. Have a great fantastic
Desmond
weekend.
Bane was the star of the show last night,
Was
though.
Yep. 26 last night.
Yeah, and then Brandon Clark coming off the bench with 20. No, the Grizzlies that was crazy. They had two separate. They had a 26-point lead, a 25-point lead. The Grizzlies did get outscored 37-12 in the fourth quarter. I mean, they completely choked or Minnesota completely choked that game away.
Yeah, you got that backwards. Yeah, Minnesota had huge leads in that ball game a couple times, and then Memphis rallies
on their home court to choke it away like that. That's embarrassing.
Memphis outscores them by 25 in the fourth quarter alone and wins 104-95. So NBA is the playoffs are here for the NBA, and it's rolling right along and if you've gotten into it a little bit, it's been pretty good. Golden State beats Denver last night, 118-113. They take a 3-0 series lead, and Dallas rolls over Denver last night. They go up 2-1, and excuse me, not Denver. That was Golden State that beat Denver. Dallas beat Utah last night to go up 2-1 in that series. So some NBA discussion there this morning. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. Coming up tonight, some baseball. South Carolina on the road at Auburn, number 19 Auburn. That game will be 7 p.m. You can watch it or stream it, I guess, on the SEC Network Plus television, or you can listen to it right here on 107.5 The Game. And Patrick, again, it's a huge weekend for South Carolina baseball. Probably what we'll say every weekend moving forward, unless they get swept in the next 2 weekends, and then you're like, well, okay, we move forward from that.
I was going to say, it's not going to be an irrelevant weekend because they're so secure in their playoffs.
Right.
That will not happen pretty much no matter what. But you can kind of tank your season this weekend. I mean, if you lose this one, it's not over. You can still get a couple sweeps back to back and be right back in it. But you lose this series, and of course, if you get swept, we're getting very close to the time where there's no return. Like, people are going to completely punch out, and that's just going to be it. You're not getting anybody back, no matter what you do, because really all the premier opponents are now, you've passed them. You're playing all good teams, but the true premier teams in college baseball, your schedule's lightened up from those. So yeah, you got to start winning series. Otherwise, there's just going to be nobody in Founders Park come the end of the year.
So we'll get into a little bit of baseball this morning. The other thing we will get into is the NFL. A week from today, Patrick will be bleary-eyed. He'll be worn out. It'll be the first night of the NFL draft will be behind us. He will have a complete breakdown of the first round. But this morning, we will get more into the NFL draft breakdown. Yesterday, a couple NFL things taking place. Now, 2 days or on Wednesday, we had Deebo Samuel requesting a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. Yesterday, you had the Arizona Cardinals saying there is zero chance they will trade not Aaron Murray, Kyler Murray. It completely blew that. And then also the Tennessee Titans saying they do not foresee trading wide receiver A.J. Brown. So, Patrick, some NFL news there. I don't see why Arizona would trade Kyler Murray. You just got to find a way to work through whatever issues he and the organization are having together.
I don't know why. I don't know why you trade him this year. I could see it happening maybe next year. I mean, if they can't come to a deal this year, like, Kyler has no choice other than to play on this deal. Kyler can't sit out. There's no, "I'm not happy with my deal." There's no, "I don't wanna get hurt. I'm gonna protect myself." You play quarterback. Quarterbacks need to play, and you're supposed to be a leader. People already question your leadership because 'cause you're not very outspoken. He was kind of weird during the draft process, and he's not a rah-rah guy, so he doesn't seem like the natural fit for a leader, and maybe there's something to just being a big commanding presence, and he's just like a little guy that runs around and makes people look silly, so I can see it maybe next year if things don't go well this year, if they say, "Okay, we don't know that you're a top 10." I mean, I think he's right there at the fringes of the top 10. I would love for Kyler Murray to be my quarterback, so I would pay him, but I can understand them not being completely ready to go all in and say, "We're gonna commit $30 million a year to you." I can just I can understand where they'd be coming from with that, and he probably wants more than that. I mean, he probably wants 35 to $40 million a year, and he hasn't proven that he can carry a team on his back. So I would say just make him play this year, suck it up. If he doesn't want to take the deal you offer him that you feel is fair, there's going to be plenty of teams that are in the quarterback market next year. There's going to be a good draft too. Maybe the Eagles decide they've got 2 first round picks next year. This is a make or break year for Jalen Hurts, and maybe they say next year, look, we're going to go all in on Kyler Murray. We're going to trade 2 first round picks and a future for him, and you can get yourself into the quarterback market next year. So yeah, I can see it happening. It makes no sense to do it this year.
So we've got plenty that we're going to get into. We'll get more into the NFL this morning. Let Patrick really start to break down the NFL draft and analyze that. Is a week from today. Again, we'll be heading into day 2, which is, I believe, where you kind of foresee maybe some of the South Carolina players having a chance to pop up on day 2. Maybe JJ Enagbare, maybe as Zaquandre White moves up into that group just because he's versatile and can really help you out on a 53-man roster.
Day 2 would be a surprise for Zaquandre. I mean, maybe high day 3. Like if he's a third round pick, I'd be surprised. But if he's one of the 5 through 10 running backs taken, that wouldn't surprise me too much. I think from most of the things that I've seen, there's a pretty clear 1-2 and then a gap, and that's Breece Hall from Iowa State and then Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. After that, I don't know that there's any consensus on what running backs are going to get off the board. I can totally see a team falling in love with Zaquandre White. I mean, just they're going to know his whole history. I don't know what happened at Florida State, but he played linebacker. You know, he's physical. He stepped in and played safety for South Carolina when their numbers were thin. He is incredibly, I don't even know how to describe the way he moves, but he just cuts on a dime and it almost doesn't make sense the way he's twitched up. So he brings a lot to the table. I can definitely see a team buying into that. I don't know how he did with interviews or what teams interviewed him, but if he impressed teams in interviews, which it sounds like he would, because even Shane Beamer coming in right away, that was one of the players that you could tell Shane Beamer just fell in love with and would rave about him all the time. So I do think he'll go pretty high, but it's just not a good year for running backs, and that might push everybody down. Maybe it'll push everybody up. Maybe teams say, look, there's not any good running backs. I'm just going to go ahead and take Breece Hall in the second round and Kenneth Walker in the second round. And then that pushes all the other running backs up because if you want a running back, these are your only choices. I can see it going either way, but I would say comfortably Enagbare day 2 and then Zaquandre White would be the only person that I would say will definitely get drafted.
Do you think there's a chance, because of what you just said about running backs, that Kevin Harris, who again, just combine numbers alone, I know Kevin Harris is a workout freak and benches a whole lot of weights, but I feel like Kevin Harris is a guy that shines best not in workouts, but when you put the
On
pads
game
on
speed,
and
yeah.
people have to actually tackle him and not just run 40s and lift weights. You think there's a chance that Kevin Harris actually slides out of the draft and has to be
Yeah.
do you?
There's definitely a chance. Yeah, I wouldn't be if he was a 6th round pick, I wouldn't be surprised. If he's not drafted, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it was night and day him over the last 2 years.
Right.
That COVID season, the shortened season where he ran for 1,000 yards, he was unbelievable. And last year, just unrecognizable to that player. And yeah, I mean, back injuries, they're not going to mess with that. If there is a tie between Kevin Harris and someone else on a team's board, and they say we like both these guys about the same, they're definitely not taking the guy with a back injury. So yeah, I would say there's a very, very real chance that Kevin Harris is not going to get drafted.
Lot to get into this morning, and we will goof off as well because things are slowing down a tad as we get closer to the summer. But certainly this morning we'll get into South Carolina baseball. We'll kind of wrap up. We'll put our finishing touches on the spring game. Final thoughts from what you saw yesterday. I had the chance to go back, Patrick. The spring game was being aired on the SEC network, as now you're starting to get a bunch of those games re-aired since initially they were on the SEC Network Plus, and I had a chance to rewatch that and just catch some things. For example, the just some extra thoughts on Marshawn Lloyd after watching him a little bit yesterday. Some more thoughts on Spencer Rattler and just everything in general. So we'll get into some spring game this morning. Just kind of final thoughts on that. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. We'll get back into some of Patrick's draft takes as it pertains both to South Carolina players and to the first round. And if you want to ask Patrick who you think his team should take, you can weigh in this morning. 803
Or your team.
Or your team, whatever. Yeah, good point. You can weigh in this morning with a question there on our text line, or you can give us a call, 803-404-6100. And as always, you can jump on the Buford Lending live stream. The easy way to do that, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click and subscribe and hop on. We're Decor, DC, Jerry, Anthony, all up and at it with us this morning, as well as a few others who just want to watch and not join in the chat. So you can do that as well. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can be a part of the program. We'll get into some spring game thoughts and some NFL draft when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 1075 The Game.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
1075 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And right now, we have a good start to your Friday morning. There are no accidents to report and no major slowdowns to speak of. We are looking for a high today of 83, and that's pretty much what we're going to see throughout the weekend. 83 tomorrow, 84 on Sunday. Right now, 54 at 1075 The Game.
This is Zach Gelb with the CBS Sports Minute. Kevin Durant recently on Twitter called himself a god. Well, God Durant through 2 games against the Celtics has been horrible, shooting a putrid 13 of 41 from the field. And in the second half of Game 2, somehow couldn't register a bucket, going 0 for 10. The Nets down 0-2 need their prayers to be answered, and the self-appointed God needs to show up, or it's going to be a long offseason for KD on his real Twitter account, or maybe even a burner defending himself. I'm Zach Gelb.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors. Gorilla Glue, of course. Gorilla Glue is incredibly strong, 100% waterproof, and bonds virtually everything. Gorilla Glue, for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
You can unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you can unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 8338-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. Rocket. Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
No matter what the sport is, defense matters. The same thing goes for COVID-19. Help protect yourself with a booster shot. Schedule an appointment as soon as you're eligible, following completion of your primary series. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. Give yourself a new morning routine with the Bell Breakfast Box from Taco Bell. It's filled with a grande toasted breakfast burrito, hash brown, 2 Cinnabon Delights, and a coffee. Swing by participating locations for a limited time only. Drinks excludes freezes.
Outspoken Bicycles invites you to spring clean and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles, wheels, frames, parts, clothing, and shoes, and receive instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days are April 21st through the 23rd, exclusively at Outspoken Bicycles on 3223 Divine Street. See Outspoken Bicycles on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Don't let this opportunity pass you by.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios?
Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
Are you tired of looking at your lawn and seeing ugly weeds? Hey, this is Paul Romanstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape. Let us take care of those pesky weeds and make your lawn healthy and green. Our trained technicians use a proven program with years of success. Over 25 years of service. We are local and we care about developing trusted relationships with our clients. At Midlands Landscape, we guarantee 100% satisfaction. Call Midlands Landscape today at 803-356-8080, 803-356-8080, or hateweeds.com.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen
on your home, of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
$6:20 on a Friday morning. Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen. We are rolling through the Friday morning, ready for the weekend. I'm sure we've all got big plans. I head to Charleston for a soccer tournament this coming weekend. So I will be down in the Crescent City. What do we call Charleston? Any idea? You're not a Charleston guy yet, are you? You really haven't had a chance to get down and experience Charleston, have you?
I was there for Memorial Day weekend, but no, not too much. New Orleans is the Crescent City. I don't know if Charleston's also the Crescent City.
Jen, do we know what do we call Charleston? The Crescent City? Is it? No, I don't.
Oh.
Does anybody know? People out there? Holy City. Lauren says Holy City, and she's actually down there right now working.
That sounds right.
Sounds fair. There's a bunch of churches. All right, so I'll be heading down there for the weekend. If you want,
because there's a bunch of churches. Is that what you said?
Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Oh, bless you. Okay.
We used to go there for Easter every year. We used to go to church
that
down
would
there.
be
So
why.
that would be, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm familiar with Charleston in that manner. So there we go. Yeah. 803-404-6100. How you can be a part of the program this morning. If you want to weigh in, if you want to jump in and you want to talk. Yep. Cocky D says Holy City. John from Somerville, which is just outside of there. Holy. Yep.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, but you don't go. You really should go to Charleston more often. You said you went one time for
time.
Get all the time in the world. You're young. The world's your oyster.
You go to Nashville to see
Maryland.
that girl.
Yeah.
So
To see that girl.
I don't have the money to go to Charleston.
It is.
Charleston's beautiful. It's cool, but I would have nothing to do there.
You'd have a lot to do there.
No, I wouldn't.
Shem Creek is a really good time.
And the one time I went to Charleston, I spent way more money than I could afford to. I'm broke. I'm not going to Charleston. I'm broke and I don't like the beach. So really, Charleston.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. Later this morning, we're going to likely do our Wheel of Agony death. And honestly, Jen, that should be one of the punishments is that you have to sit outside like you're tanning. Like we could bring a tanning chair. And now that would be strictly for Patrick. I think you and I would be okay with that. Like
I
would
could
be
chill like that for a little bit. I can't do that all day. Like that's not my thing to like just go lay on the beach all day. Like after a while, it's like I've got to do something. I need to paint a room or something. I can't. It drive me crazy.
Yeah. 803-404.
He could hold that. Remember, I've seen like in old episodes of sitcoms where they sit out and then they hold like a reflective pan or something.
Yeah. They do it all the time in Sopranos outside Satcher Alleys. Yeah.
Okay. So see, there you go.
There you go. Yep. All right. So yeah. So that's what I'll be into this weekend. Patrick will be doing draft prep, and Patrick, as we get ready, you've really covered the top 10 picks in the draft. But as we look at the back half of the draft and teams that obviously were in contention for the Super Bowl or made the Super Bowl last year, as you start to look at the back half of the draft, who do you think is best suited to pick up a player that can maybe propel them into the Super Bowl? By that, I'm kind of looking at, say, about 21 through 32, and 32 is the Lions, by the way, so we're not really talking about the Lions. So, but 21 is, I see the Patriots. 22 is the Packers. 23 is the Cardinals. We just talked about Kyler Murray. 24, the 24th pick is the Cowboys. The 25th pick is the Bills. These are all teams that I think legitimately have a chance for the Super Bowl. The Packers are the Packers are weird because I think if you looked at their roster, you're like, this is nowhere near being a Super Bowl team, but they do have Aaron Rodgers. And when I think we just assume he's going to drag that team to another, 13-5 season only to get knocked out in the playoffs.
We won too many games. 13-4. 13-4 they could do.
Well, yeah.
The Packers and Chiefs are kind of in similar situations to me where they need to draft a wide receiver. It's no secret whatsoever. But it's not like they can propel themselves to being contenders. They kind of already are, but they both have to hit on those picks. Like, the Packers don't have a choice. They have to draft a receiver, and he has to be good. Like, there's going to be no learning curve. There's going to be no, well, he can have a slow rookie year, but then year 2 he'll really break out. There's no time to wait for that. And they're also in positions where there might not really be a receiver for them. This is a class of really, it's fairly deep, but there's 4 guys that you feel good about, and that's the 2 Ohio State guys, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and then Drake London and Jameson Williams, who both coming off of ACL injuries. So who knows if they'll even be ready week 1. There's a lot to like about other guys later on. Sky Moore from Western Michigan is really good, but the level of competition wasn't there. George Pickens, most people believe that he would have been a first-round pick had he not torn his ACL a year ago and been able to play this whole season because he was on that kind of trajectory. So maybe he ends up being a fit for Green Bay. I know they like receivers that block, and nobody blocks better than George Pickens. So those 2 teams are interesting. I do kind of feel like Buffalo and Cincinnati really are 2 teams that their rosters are just very solid right now. And if they get a guy that can be a stud year 1, it can just take them to another level. Cincinnati, it's night and day. The team that played the Super Bowl in the roster right now, they've added Ted Karras and Alex Cappa on their offensive line and La'el Collins as their right tackle. So they're now set pretty much on 4 or 5 offensive line spots. They actually feel great. So their offensive line, the whole idea after the Super Bowl was whoever the best offensive lineman is at 31, that's who you're taking because you need to protect Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow's protected now. Their offensive line couldn't be too much better for the money they spent. So it's fair game at this point. Like, go get a corner, go get somebody. And if you get someone that can come in and be good right away, that could put them right back in the Super Bowl. And Buffalo's roster is really solid, but if they just get one guy, like I would probably say a corner. If they get a corner opposite Tre'Davious White that can really step in and cover number 2 wide receivers, that can make them extremely dangerous too. So those are really the only teams. Tampa Bay's roster is ready made for a Super Bowl, in the NFC's weak. If they get one guy that can be a nuisance this year, they should be back in the Super Bowl. So I like a lot of the teams in the 20s. Like Tennessee's, I just can't. I think their window has passed. I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl team. Dallas is substantially worse than they were last year. Arizona, I don't believe in. And New England, I just won't buy into Mac Jones. So those would be the teams. Green Bay, Kansas City have to hit on their picks. Buffalo and Cincinnati have the luxury of maybe taking a big swing, and if it pays off, could really be very meaningful for them.
803-404-6100. Another part to this interesting this draft. It's going to be an interesting draft. I think because you're going to factor in some trades. Yesterday we talked a lot about Deebo Samuel, and that occurred on Wednesday. Yesterday, an article coming out, or multiple. I shouldn't say. I'm looking at the CBS article is what I was going to use by John Breach, but multiple people reporting that Deebo Samuel wanting out of San Francisco, Patrick, isn't related to money. 49ers are ready to pay him. The reason, according to multiple reports, is because he did not like the way the 49ers used him during the season. This is a quote from the article. It says Samuel had a historical year while playing both wide receiver and running back. Not only did the Pro Bowler haul in 1,405 yards and 6 touchdowns through the air, but he added 365 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Thanks to those numbers, Samuel became the third player in the NFL history to finish a season with at least 1,000 yards receiving, along with at least 5 receiving touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns. It says Deebo Samuel accounted for 28% of the 49ers' total offense, which was the 4th highest percentage by any NFL player. But according to NFL Media's Ian Rappaport, Samuel isn't comfortable with the way the 49ers are using him. This is a quote from Rappaport on the NFL Network yesterday, Patrick. He says, there are some questions and some frustration from his standpoint, Samuel's, about his usage. He takes a lot of hits, used like a running back, put all over the field, and it just does not sound like he's comfortable with the way he's being used. You kind of alluded to this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about it. Your thoughts on when you hear this about Deebo Samuel, and I guess wanting to be more strictly a wide receiver and not be used as the wide back term that he said?
Yeah, I don't know. Just imagine if George Kittle said, I don't want to block anymore. Like that's what makes you so great, is that you can do both things. Like Deebo, you're looked at as one of the best weapons in football because of your ability to do this. This is your ability. You don't run routes like Devontae Adams or Keenan Allen or these guys. You don't have the speed of Tyreek Hill. You don't have the physicality or jump ball ability of some of these bigger receivers. You just have an incredible mix of a lot of those things, and you're the best in the league at that position with the ball in your hands. Why do you not want to do that? Like, you don't want to get hurt? Okay, well, I would just say build that into your contract and say, look, I want injury guarantees and keep pushing the 49ers for that. But if it's just a matter of I don't like getting hit, okay, well, you're just not going to be the best you that you can be. Go play for a team that's not as good, with a coach that's not going to put you in as good of positions, and you just won't be as successful. All right, that's fine. But
I'll throw something at you. I'll throw something at you when we come back about the running back position and about Deebo Samuel as it pertains to him. We'll continue on. We'll get back.
I just imagine also being a running back on the 49ers, like, oh, this guy gets 20 handoffs, and all of a sudden he wants a demand a trade because he has to take hits. All right.
But I think there's a point to it, and I'll counter argue with you on that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game's Heath Klein was there in Minneapolis with the Gamecocks as they won their second national title.
Get ready, Columbia. Your Gamecocks are coming home with a national championship trophy.
If you missed his one-on-one interviews with former Gamecock great Kerry Rich.
UConn is good. They have all of the history, all of the traditions on their side. But South Carolina is really, really good when they're clicking on all cylinders.
Lamont Paris.
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Hopefully it's a great Sunday night for Gamecock Nation after the women do their deal tonight.
Or the voice of the Lady Gamecocks, Brad Muller.
It would be the perfect ending for South Carolina, as they have been the team that's been hunted all season long, being the number one team in the nation, wire to wire.
Just go to Heath's show page at 1075thegame.com. Have microphone, will travel.
Heath Klein is there
Live from Minneapolis here, 107.5 The Game.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Talking about getting out and heading down to Charleston this weekend. That may mean, if it's warm enough, and it's expected to be warm enough, getting out and playing in the waves. Although to do that, I need to feel healthy. You also need to feel healthy. You might not be heading out of town this weekend. You might be like Jen Jensen and doing some yard work. That's what she loves doing, and she needs to be healthy as well. No joint pain, no back pain, no problem with the hips, the knees, the ankles. Nope, you don't need any of that. But if you're suffering from it, it's time to call QC Kinetics. 803-281-6860. You can take action now. Get a free consultation for this powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics. 803-281-6860. That's how you can get in touch with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here in the Midlands to this modern day joint pain solution. You can get real, lasting joint pain relief, all with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and most importantly, no surgery. Give them a phone call today for a free consultation or a second opinion. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics, helping you with joint pain, back pain, any kind of issues you've had. Call them today, 803-281-6860.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still a good morning to be out on the highways. No accidents, no major slowdowns at this time. And the forecast looks even better. 83 today, 83 tomorrow, and 84 for Sunday. We're going to stay in the 80s through Tuesday. So how nice. 54 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Visit the South Carolina Military Museum on One National Guard Road, featuring one of the state's largest military collections of equipment, firearms, tracked vehicles, artillery, and more. The new Battery Bay is now open. Admission is free. For more information, go to scmilitarymuseum.com or stop by One National Guard Road from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
See you at the South Carolina Military Museum.
What's done more to improve overall health and wellness? Modern medicine or personal hygiene? Actually, it's both. But considering that bathing went mainstream in the 1800s and brushing your teeth in the 1900s, isn't it time for something new, like cleaning your nose? After all, your nose is the body's air filter for trapping dirt and germs, the first line of defense against allergens, bacteria, and viruses from getting into your lungs. But how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage isn't medicine, it's more like plumbing. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the very back of the nose where germs can get trapped and multiply, and then out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and microbes so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. Join over 2 million others and find out for yourself how refreshing and easy to use Navage is. At Navage.com, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
I'm Kayla Burton with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Zero chance. That's the probability Cardinals GM Steve Keim gave Thursday when asked if his team would trade Kyler Murray. Contract talks between the two sides are at an impasse, and Murray is staying away from team workouts. But he did tweet out a peace offering Thursday, writing, quote, "I want to win Super Bowls with the Cardinals. Arizona is home." Titans Pro Bowl receiver A.J. Brown is also staying away from workouts as he seeks a new deal. But he, too, looks like he's staying put right now. When asked about trading Brown, Titans GM John Robinson said, quote, "I do not foresee that happening." One-star receiver has requested a trade. The Niners' Deebo Samuel. While it's not yet clear if San Francisco would deal him, the Jets could be interested, especially after making a trade offer for Tyreek Hill before his move to Miami. When asked about the Deebo rumors, Jets GM Joe Douglas said, quote, "Can't get into specifics. If the right opportunity presents itself, we are going to be aggressive." This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Stop wasting your time struggling to loosen rusted nuts and bolts. Start using Freol Deep Penetrating Oil. Freol spreads deep into rusted or frozen parts to help release tough bolts and washers. Its formula delivers 3 times more lubricant. That means less sprays, less torque, and less time than any other penetrating oil on the market. It's even silicone-free. Professionals have trusted Freol Deep Penetrating Oil for over 40 years. Now it's your turn. Get Freol today at AutoZone, O'Reilly, and Napa. Look for the silver can.
Springfest is happening at Lowe's, where you'll find everything you need this season, like premium mulch for our new low price of $2.98 a bag. And the spring savings don't stop there. With select Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables, 4 for $10. Shop Lowe's right now for everything Springfest has to offer. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Bonnie offer in-store only. Plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 4/21 through 4/27. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
.637 on a Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. We will get you through your Friday morning. Larry on our Buford Lending live stream saying, "Man, I am glad it's Friday," and he uses all caps on that. You've also got a couple of you weighing in how you are thrilled that it's Friday. DC saying been a rough week at work, but excited because he's heading to Rockingham this weekend. I'm assuming there's a race. That's not where we picked yesterday. We picked Talladega, but I'm assuming that there is a race in Rockingham. I drive by that racetrack there on my way up to my sister's house in Raleigh when we go up there. So maybe that's where DC is heading. Big race, I guess. We picked Talladega, though. 803-404-6100. We've been talking a little bit about the NFL draft and about Deebo Samuel. Some reports coming out yesterday. Money, not the reason he wants to be traded away from the San Francisco 49ers, Patrick. And let me just play devil's advocate here for you. I agree with what you're saying, but we also know the lifespan of most running backs in the NFL. Now, you're right. Deebo Samuel's versatility does make him a different kind of player than, say, an A.J. Brown or a DK Metcalf or, obviously Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. But if you're Deebo Samuel and you're thinking about longevity, doesn't it make sense to try and request and say, hey, I don't want to carry the football quite as much? Let me give you the numbers here on this, and it is kind of interesting about how the 49ers adjusted using him. It says Samuel's usage at running back went into overdrive starting in week 10 when he had 5 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown in a win over the Rams. Over the final 11 games of the season, including the playoffs, Samuel lined up in the backfield for over 21% of the 49ers offensive snaps. To put that into perspective, Samuel only lined up at running back for 2.1% of the offensive snaps in his career before week 10 of the 2021 season. It's interesting because I do kind of agree with Deebo Samuel, and I think you would to the extent of we know the longevity of most running backs, right? The general feeling is, shoot, just draft someone in the 3rd or 4th round, use them for 3-4 years, their rookie contract, get the most out of them, and then throw them over to the tire pile and move on to the next guy.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, I get it, and this is just becoming more of a trend, but it's not the attitude you would want. Like if your team's trading for Deebo, all these fans would want to trade for Deebo. Okay, well, do you want him just a guy that's only going to split wide and play wide receiver, that doesn't run great routes, that doesn't have great hands? People keep mentioning. I don't know who it was. It might have been Craig, or no, it's Travis. Deebo was, I think, 3rd or 4th in the league in drops last year. Like he's not sure-handed. He doesn't have he has breakaway speed as a runner with the ball in his hand, but he doesn't have beat a corner off the line and just toast him and get open down the field speed. He's just not going to be the same player if this isn't what he does. And it is just unfortunate because that was a match made in heaven. He was the perfect player for Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan was the perfect coach for him. So maybe he can prove me wrong. I mean, there's no saying that he couldn't come in next year, get traded to the Jets. Zach Wilson breaks out. Deebo's leading the league in receptions. Like this is possible. He could still be a bubble screen guy and a jet sweep guy that just he doesn't want to line up in the backfield and take pure handoffs. Maybe that's the case, but I just don't think he is as good of a pure receiver. He was 2nd in the league in all-purpose yards last year because he can do anything. You can get him the ball any way, and he'll make a play with it if you just give him a little bit of space. But asking him to go beat corners down the field is just not something he's excelled at. So I just think it's a mistake for both teams. Both sides. It was a match made in heaven. When you're good at something, don't rock the boat. They were going to pay you. Take the money, make sure it's guaranteed, and keep moving along and make sure you get your money, but be the best you can be and be on a team that puts you in positions to be successful. Because, yeah, he takes running back handoffs, but somehow, I don't know how Kyle Shanahan does it. He gets the edge, and he doesn't take hits like running backs do. He doesn't
up the middle,
he doesn't run between the tackles. He finds ways to just not get kind of laid out by 300-pounders, and it is just unfortunate because I believe that if Deebo leaves, last year was the best we'll ever see of Deebo Samuel. I don't think he's going to get better than last year.
Gene says, so the 49ers moved Deebo to running back towards the end of the season and came within 1 quarter of going to the Super Bowl. And
they didn't move him to running back, though.
Well, but let me give you one more stat here to throw at you. It says during the first 8 games of the season, 7 of them, Deebo caught 5 or more passes the first 8 games. In the final 8 games he played in last year, including the playoffs, he only caught 5 or more passes in 2 of them. You're right. You look at the production. It's not like he became a full-time running back. He didn't become a full-time running back. He's still lined up at wide receiver, but you can see the difference when you go back to week 10, as it said, when after or during week 10, they beat the Rams 31-10, and Debo lined up in that game or after that game 21% of the time in San Francisco's backfield, as opposed to having lined up just 2.1% of the time. I can see both sides of this. I really can, because I can see where Debo's coming from here, Patrick, with the idea of, running backs are a dime a dozen in the NFL. And he's right. You look at the breakdown of players. Leonard Fournette, what he's been able to do with longevity, honestly, is pretty amazing because
Yeah,
of
I agree.
the number of hits he took at LSU alone, and has been able to carve out a role. But you're right. You see running backs kind of come and go in this league, and it's because of the number of hits that they tend to get taken up. Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy in Carolina. And I think that's your point about, if the Panthers were to try and trade for him, he's got serious health concerns because every time you turn around, he's injured.
Well, and that's also where the Debo thing confuses me, because it's like, okay, well, we know you don't want to get hurt, but if the 49ers are paying you $20+ million a year, they don't want you to get hurt. It's not going to benefit them for you to get hurt. They're going to continue to try and keep you healthy. And if they're using you this way and you get hurt, they're not going to bring you back and then run you between the tackles again. Like that's just not how it works. It would not benefit them to have you hurt. They would just be flushing money down the toilet for a guy that's not even on the field. So I don't know why it's thought of as just an individual decision. I mean, maybe he's just thinking down the road, 20 years from now, I don't want to have sore knees when I get out of bed from taking these hits or whatever it might be. But it's not like he's going to sign this deal and the 49ers are just going to start running him playing him as a running back on every single play and say, well, if you get hurt, you get hurt. We don't care. No, they want him to be out there. They were successful. They went to the NFC Championship because they were able to use him in the right ways. And they would have versatile players all over the field. That was the allure. It was George Kittle, the blocking and receiving and run after the catch guy. Brandon Ayuk, great at running after the catch, good return man. Debo, obviously the Swiss Army knife. Trey Lance, rocket of an arm and also a great runner, will immediately be one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. And they were just a very versatile offense that was hard to cover. So if Debo wasn't part of that, it changes the whole complexion of the offense. And the idea that the 49ers don't care if he's hurt, I just think is a little ridiculous.
Well, one other thing just to add it, because I think this is to your point, and I think the other side of this, Larry says, since when did players decide that the team has to conform to them and not them?
Yeah, it's not
to
a
the
team first attitude.
I mean, it is interesting because I can certainly see where Debo's coming from on this, but I also, as you just pointed out, can understand why if you're Kyle Shanahan, you're looking at it going,
yeah,
well, fine. That we'll find another guy. I don't know how easy it is to go out and just necessarily find another guy that's a Debo Samuel.
No.
If you look through the draft, I don't think that they're just a dime a dozen like running backs. But I guess the point there is it is interesting in how you want to view how exactly a player should approach an organization with how he should be used.
Yeah, because as fans, everybody just looks at players as commodities. That's just the way it goes. But in the traditional like football guy sense, one, he's not being a team player, and two, it's a little soft. Like, but to be fair, it is his body. He's got a life to live. Football's not the only thing that he cares about. So to say, I don't want to take hits, there are going to be some hardo football guys that say, okay, well, that's just soft. And a lot of running backs around the league are going to be like, all right, bud, well, we do it every game and we don't see us complaining, but it's still Debo's right to look out for what's best for him. Nonetheless, I think this is a mistake.
803-404-6100. We'll continue talking about that. We'll get into some more.
All right, and Panthers fans, Christian McCaffrey has no trade value. No trade value. Okay, because Wesley tweeted me the other day, what are the odds of the Panthers trading McCaffrey and Sam Darnold for Debo and Jimmy G? The odds are 0. And Andrew just tweeted me, thank you for the tweet, Andrew, but he said, I would love to see a Debo CMC trade. As would everyone in the Carolinas.
Yeah, the Panthers would.
But
that.
No, Christian McCaffrey is not a valuable asset right now.
803-40.
I wouldn't trade him for a box of rocks.
803-404-6100. We move on. We keep talking. We'll keep talking a little Devo Samuel. We'll get into some other stuff as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Keeping your house clean, it can be a little bit of a chore. Let's be honest. You got to break out the broom, the mop. You got to do all the fun things about keeping your carpet, your rugs, your tile all insanely clean. That can wear on you. It can really take away time from fun things you like to do. That's why I use Zero Res, because Zero Res does all the things that I would have to do, but they do it with their patented ZR water technology that is scientifically proven to keep my rugs, my tile, my upholstery all insanely clean, and with help from professionals, not me doing it, because, well, you've seen me, I'm a little scatterbrained. Cleaning, not always the best thing that I do. So I turn to Zero Res. You should do the same. 803-262-4020. Right now, schedule today and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. All you got to do is just remember to mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Again, right now, 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com, or you can give them a call, 803-262-4020. Let the professionals at Zero Res take care of your home. You will be very happy you did. 803-262-4020, or you can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And taking a look out on the highways to see what's going on. And I'm going to tell you, it's not looking too bad at all. No accidents to report. Don't seem to have many slowdowns, so that's great for your Friday. Otherwise, looking pretty decent. 83 today, 83 tomorrow, and 84 on Sunday. Right now, it's 54, 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Midland Air Service Experts.
Sweating a broken AC? There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Midland Air Service Experts keep you cool with $50 off any repair. Call 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Outspoken Bicycles invites you to spring clean and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles, wheels, frames, parts, clothing, and shoes, and receive instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days are April 21st through the 23rd, exclusively at Outspoken Bicycles on 3223 Divine Street. See Outspoken Bicycles on Facebook and Instagram for details. Don't let this opportunity pass you by.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet. Quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hon, look, it's Heartburn.
It's going to try and ruin our vacation.
Don't worry. I pack Prilosec OTC. One pill in the morning prevents excess acid production that can cause frequent heartburn.
Nice. Aloha, heartburn.
Block heartburn from your summer bucket list with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Don't wait until you have heartburn to start Prilosec OTC. Kick your summer off right and look for Prilosec OTC at Walmart or walmart.com.
Think about what's hiding behind those vents in your home. No worries. Contact the pros at Zero Res Air Duct Cleaning. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning, plus 15% off filters and purifiers. Book online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Early Game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The Early Game, 107.5
The Game.
803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning. As always, you can head over and hop on the Buford Lending live stream as well and be a part of that. Big thank you, as always, to Benji Getsy and Buford Lending for sponsoring the Buford Lending live stream. You can give them a phone call and have them check out your current mortgage situation. You can actually get a free evaluation with Buford Lending and Benji Getsy. You need somebody with experience in the industry, and Buford Lending provides exactly that with their professional team. You can give them a phone call today, check out what interest rates they're able to get you, and they will make sure they get you taken care of. That's Buford Lending with Benji Getsy. We'll tell you more about them in just a little while. 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program this morning if you want to do so. Richard weighing in and said, Patrick, you just made the perfect point. There you go. McCaffrey put team first and let them use him as a receiver and running back, catching 100 balls and running 200 to 250 times a year. And he was best at it. But look at him now and how he is broken down. And then Ben from Lexington says, awful take, Patrick. So
awful McCaffrey take.
Awful
Yeah.
McCaffrey
I mean,
take.
he's wrong. McCaffrey played 10 games over the last 2 years, and he's going to make 8.5% of their cap over the next 2 years. He's going to make $20 million a year, and he can't stay on the field. He's an incredible player when he's healthy, but that's the key word. When?
I was going to say
he's healthy. He has not been healthy for 2 years.
Over under on number of games he's able to play in 2022. You're going to do, let's say if I gave you 11 and a half, and you had to sit here and take it today on McCaffrey playing for the Panthers this year, how many would you go over and under on this year? No quarterback. You're going to have to basically rely on him if he is indeed healthy.
I would like to just say the over because I don't want to put that evil on him because I like watching Christian McCaffrey play, and he seems like a great guy, but the offensive line's still terrible. You don't have a quarterback. You've got a coaching staff that has absolutely nothing to lose. What do they have stopping them from running him 30 times a game and throwing him the ball every down? Like, he's going to just get overused, continue to get overused. Richard's exactly right. He gets overused, and he does it because he made his money, so it's okay. Like, it's not going to hurt his pockets because he got his deal. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. His life sucks because he's always getting surgery and he's always hurt, but he's at least cashing out. He was healthy enough on his rookie deal that he got the extension. So maybe the Panthers exercise that contract out next year and just eat up $20 million of dead cap to let him go. But ultimately, I think I have to say under 11 and a half games because that's just over the last 2 years, he's played 3 and 7. So
I was going to say,
it just doesn't lead you to believe.
10 games the last 2 years for McCaffrey. He played 3 games, obviously, in 2020. He had 59 rushes in 3 games. He had 17 receptions in 3 games in 2020. Last year, 7 games, 99 rushes, and 37 receptions, 212 touches in the last 2 years, which is still excessive when you think about the last 2 years, just 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
the trade value for Christian McCaffrey, people just think he has trade value because he's a marquee name in the sport, and he has been incredible at times. He has been the best running back in the league at times, but when you play 10 games over 2 years and you're talking about trading a first-round pick for him or trading another elite player for him, that risk does not add up for any team. So as much as Panthers fans would love to think that, hey, we can get a great player for Christian McCaffrey, use him as a trade chip, it ain't happening this year.
It'll be interesting. I mean, again, you look at McCaffrey's been in the league 5 years, and he's had 781 rushes in his career. And think about that. He's had just 158, I believe, in the last 2 years. So a lot of rushes. We'll continue talking about this and get into some baseball, some spring football as well. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Hey, Fido, what you doing? Hi, Sparky. I got this new bone, and I'm looking for a place to bury it. Hold on, Fido. I heard my humans talking about how they needed to call 811 before they started digging. What for? There are utilities underground, and when you tell 811 where you're planning to dig, they'll have the utility owners come out and mark them so you can avoid hitting them. I'm going to call 811 right now. Sparky, help. I just remembered I don't have thumbs. Sponsored by South Carolina 811. Aired by SCBA and this station.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
South Carolina fans, this is the Carry-On Jordan. The Garnet Trust is connecting fans like you with athletes like myself through NIL deals. Head on over to GarnetTrust.com to find out how you can support me and my teammates for as little as $10.
Don't let the mess of April showers keep you from maintaining a clean home. Call the pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. We treat you like family with no ridiculous add-ons and the lowest price guaranteed. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com.
The early game.
Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines real quick. Rusty, you got about a minute. He's got a Mardi Gras story. You got 45 seconds. Make it quick one.
All right, I'll make it quick. Listen, I marched in the Greatest Band in Dixie parade with the Camden High School band when I was a teen. And as we were marching to the French Quarter, the band director came along beside the band and said, "Look straight ahead, don't look up."
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
Well, as a 15-year-old, I looked up, and the women along the balcony were exposing themselves. And I want to tell you, it's one of the greatest parades I've ever been in my life, guys.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Let me finish, Bill.
107.5 The Game.
7:02 on a Friday morning, April the 22nd. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen carrying you through, getting you off to work or out to school for you little ones. Enjoy your Friday. Tell your parents to pick you up a donut. It's always a PSA from the early game. Parents, get your kid a donut this morning. Send them to school sugared up, hopped up, ready for the teachers to handle them when they get there, to be all fired up because it's Friday and it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Jen, I think you've done the weather and it's supposed to be in the 80s this weekend. Maybe get out on the boat, maybe jump in the lake a little bit. Lake's still cold for us older people, but for the kids.
I've always said I wanted you to jump in the lake.
You do.
I
You
do.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
For the kids, the polar bear kids out there, it's the lake should feel very good this weekend as we go through the final full weekend of April. 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. We have talked a lot about Deebo Samuel in our number one, the report coming out yesterday. Multiple websites having it out. I think, Patrick, basically you would kind of give the reporting to Ian Rappaport with NFL Media is basically the one who was saying, however, yesterday, he was the one that this was picked up by multiple outlets that, according to Ian Rappaport, Deebo Samuel, the reason he wants out of San Francisco is he does not want to be used quite like he is being used. He wants to be more of a primary wide receiver, not used in the backfield and not take some of the hits he's taken. We'll continue talking about that this morning. Something else that popped up as NFL related, I want to get your take on it because I followed this guy very closely during recruiting because I thought Will Muschamp might be able to land him. There was a lot of discussion. Muschamp had some connections with Travion Walker, the 6'5", 255-pound Trayvon. Okay, well, whatever. And maybe that's why I didn't land him is because of a certain shorter radio host in Columbia couldn't pronounce his name, whereas Georgia in Athens they had no problem. Trayvon Walker, but I'm seeing more and more. Is this just NFL draft smoke? Is this hype trying to just build it up, or do you think the Jags would legitimately consider taking Walker with the first pick in the draft? I think he ran some ridiculous 40 at the combine.
It was one of the greatest combines of all time. I mean, all three of the Georgia linemen had overall some of the best combines of all time. Jordan Davis had an all-time combine, and that got most of the attention, but Trayvon Walker's gotten most of the buzz recently. That said, it would be absurd to take him over Aiden Hutchinson, number one, I think. Aiden Hutchinson's a safer player. He was the best defender in college football this year, and people are talking about the number one pick, and they're saying, well, Trayvon Walker because he's the best athlete. Well, that completely minimizes the fact that Aiden Hutchinson is an elite athlete. Aiden Hutchinson is like a 98th percentile athlete. Trayvon Walker is like a 99th percentile athlete. So what's the difference? I mean, Trayvon Walker is slightly more athletic, but when you talk about the production, it's not remotely close. And the argument for Trayvon Walker, which I think I'm not even willing to debate anyone that he should be the number one pick. But when you're talking about I wouldn't even say he's worth debating for against Kayvon Thibodeau, unless you just don't like Kayvon Thibodeau off the field, which a lot of people are treading in that direction. But the argument for Trayvon Walker, the argument for Jordan Davis are very similar. Jordan Davis never rushed the passer at Georgia, was not productive as a pass rusher, and neither was Trayvon Walker. I'll pull up his stats, but he was not an effective pass rusher at all. But I think, and from what I've seen and from what I've heard, the Georgia defense, the scheme there does their star players absolutely no favors. Like everything is just designed to stop the run. And that's just kind of it. Like everyone hold up your guy, Trayvon Walker, Jordan Davis, Devontae White, hold your guy up, let your three freak linebackers behind you make all the plays. And that's kind of what happened the entire time. Like Jordan Davis would just stand up, hold two guys, throw them out of the way, tackle the runner, and let Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker rush the passer and blitz and all these things like that.
That's kind of what we heard. I mean, it's a product of a Nick Saban system, and that's what we heard, I think, last year about this time from some defensive linemen at South Carolina who said that they liked the Clayton White, Jimmy Lindsey scheme, the plan better because it allowed them to make plays on the quarterback.
Right. It's an attacking style defense.
And it sounds stupid because you think that every defense is attacking, right?
Yeah.
But it's in reality what we heard last year when Clayton White took over and Jimmy Lindsey started running the defensive line was that the defensive linemen were saying, yeah, our job under the previous defensive line coaches, Tracy Rocker, and then also under Travaris Robinson and Will Muschamp, was to basically occupy the offensive line and allow the linebackers to flow to the ball, which is why we would hear about the run fits
Right.
so often.
Well, you remember the story about Will Anderson? Will Anderson was a Heisman candidate last year.
Right.
Is the best defender in college football, would be the number 1 pick in this draft if he was eligible. He's from Georgia. Georgia was his dream school. Georgia didn't offer him because they said he was too small for their scheme, because all they want is a big edge rusher that's going to sit up there, hold the left tackle, blow the tight end up, and make plays in the run game. And they didn't think that Will Anderson was going to be strong enough to hold up in the run game in their scheme, and they weren't really interested in him as a pass rusher. Like, that just proves it right there. Like, that's all they care about. And it's really weird because it might be the greatest, probably is the greatest front seven of all time. When you look at Jordan Davis will be a first-round pick this year. Devontae Wyatt will be a first-round pick this year. Trayvon Walker will be a first-round pick this year. He'll be a top 5 or 10 pick this year. Nolan Smith was the number 1 player in the country, could have gone pro this year, decided to come back. He might be a first-round pick next year. We'll see. And then most people are saying that Jalen Carter was overall the best defensive lineman on that team. He's a true sophomore. He's expected to be a top 10 pick next year. You got 3 linebackers. Nakobe Dean will be a first-rounder. Quay Walker's a fringe first-rounder. And then Channing Tindall will be a top 100 pick. Like, absolutely ridiculous, the talent on that team. And the fact that they just held true to their scheme and just didn't let them pin their ears back and attack the quarterback. Like, there's an argument to be made that they could have been even more dominant than they were this year.
803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program or weigh in this morning. We'll get into a little bit of South Carolina spring game as well here, as we've talked a lot about the NFL draft and Deebo Samuel, and get Patrick's final takes. As we move on, this will kind of send us into the offseason for South Carolina as it pertains to the football program. Baseball tonight, you can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. South Carolina heads to Auburn to take on the 19th ranked Tigers. The game will be again 7 p.m. You can hear it on 107.5 The Game. You can also catch it on the SEC Network Plus. No midweek game next week for South Carolina, so you really need to capitalize here with a chance to then rest your pitching before a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series at Founders Park next weekend, before the South Carolina flips the schedule to the month of May. So Auburn this weekend, Alabama next weekend. South Carolina still kind of hanging around that strength of schedule, keeping them in the ball game as it pertains to maybe some NCAA tournament hopes. But Patrick has pointed out, you go on the road this weekend, and Patrick, they're just 2-7 on the road. They're going to have to find a way to win 2 of 3 this weekend.
You got to do it. Prove that you can do something you haven't done all year. And we've talked to baseball people, and they describe what it's like in different ballparks. I just still don't understand it. You're still playing against teams that are the same level as you. Why can you get the job done in Founders Park and not in other teams? Like, is it
home crowd,
directional hitting? Like,
Gamecock fans are the best in the country. They just propel you. Yeah, propel the team on that.
They propel the team, or they just attack the other team.
Give them the energy. Yeah, that's true. They heckle the other team so badly that
they just crumble to pieces.
The other teams
or South Carolina is just so mentally weak that once an away crowd gets in their ear, they just completely.
That's what it is. Yeah,
they just start
the heckling
quivering.
Of the other teams affects
their hands are shaking, and they just can't see the baseball. I don't know what it is, but I don't even know. Like, I don't know really much about the Auburn baseball culture either. Do they have a storied history? I've never thought of them as one of the all-time historic programs in the conference, but either way, the rest of the teams you play for the rest of the year, they're 8-7 in conference. They're all around the same thing. They're slightly above 500 teams. They're above average nationally. They're good teams, but if you're desperate, you got to go out there and beat them. You got to find a way to do it.
Auburn was in the College World Series just 3 years ago, 2019. So they've been. That was their first appearance since '97 for them. So South Carolina, Auburn this coming weekend down on the Plains. Again, you can listen to that right here on 107.5. The Game is how you can do that. So we've got plenty of that to get to. There was some basketball recruiting news and not positive news yesterday for South Carolina. As Patrick, I'm not trying to push the panic button. That's not what I mean when I go through what I'm about to say. But yesterday, two of the prospects in which South Carolina recently hosted on visits, Jawan Gary, former Gray Collegiate standout, went to Alabama and took a visit to South Carolina this past weekend. Jawan Gary commits to Nebraska yesterday. And then Fede Frederico, a one-time West Virginia commitment, 6'11". Video looked wildly interesting. I don't know how he'll do in college. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of him. 6'11", runs really well, still very raw. South Carolina hosted him for a visit not too long ago, and what ended up happening is he commits to Pittsburgh yesterday. So South Carolina, two of the potential guys that they were trying to land now have gone elsewhere. I know South Carolina is still having some visitors. Obviously, Hayden Brown is a guy that we're keeping an eye on. He visited Loyola Chicago, South Carolina, and Georgia Tech recently. There are a few other guys. Michi Johnson is the point guard from Ohio State, Patrick, but do you find it a little strange, just a little strange, that at this point, South Carolina has not been able to get a basketball commitment out of the transfer portal? I mean, is that, again, I don't want to say push the panic button here, and I'm sure Lamont Paris has a plan, but it's been, we're at a month, maybe a little less, about 3 days less than a month since Lamont Paris has been on, and was it Troy Boynton, I believe, is going to be a walk-on from Evansville. I guess if you want to count that one, but
it's a roster spot, but it's a little concerning losing a hometown kid who his first visit was South Carolina after announcing he was going to be in the transfer portal. Then he took a Nebraska visit after, and he liked Nebraska better than South Carolina. I mean, Nebraska's not a special basketball program.
No, not at all. Not in the least. Not in the least.
Who's Nebraska's coach?
Fred Hoiberg.
Oh, okay.
So there is an NBA connection there with Hoiberg and what having been, I think, with the Bulls, if I'm remembering correctly.
I mean, not an impressive NBA.
No, not an impressive.
He fizzled out very quickly. It was Iowa State before that, right? Okay. So, yeah. I mean, when you lose a kid who came with an open mind to the possibility of coming back home, and normally that's the thing that happens. Like, we saw it with Seventh Woods. You see it all the time with guys. They go to the big school. Not that Alabama's a big school, but it's a better basketball program than South Carolina. And when things don't work out or they reach their time in college coming to an end, they come back home. Like, that's just what people do in the transfer portal. That's why when someone puts their name in the transfer portal, the first thing you look at is, okay, well, what are the local teams? Spencer Rattler puts his name in the transfer portal from Oklahoma. The first thing we all did was look at the Arizona schools because you just go back home. And to pick Nebraska over South Carolina, I don't know if Jawan Gary is just, I don't want to read too much into just one kid deciding to go to Nebraska. Maybe he just had a great visit. Maybe he has a connection there. I don't know, but it's not a good sign. Pitt has history as a good basketball program too, so I don't know that I'll hold that against him. But I did want a Euro, and Fede Federico would have
fit that
profile. Yeah,
that would have. He very interesting prospect. I'm not trying to push the panic button. I do think it's interesting that.
Well, it's not the push the panic. It's not going to be a good year. Like,
no.
Brace yourselves. It's not going to be a good year.
Yeah, they've got to get some guys on campus now and start to build a roster here. And we'll see. Again, the semester is coming to a close, and Patrick, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the guys who haven't announced are necessarily going to stay. There's the possibility you could still see a guy or two transfer out. We've kind of laughed jokingly about the Brandon Martin situation as he just decided, like, hey,
thanks for using your connects to get me on an SEC roster, Pops.
Right now, I'm in line to maybe be a starter in an SEC program. Like, Dad, why would I transfer up to you where I'm already going to be behind Woodley and Levesque again?
I know Taquan and Williams transferred there, but I don't really want to ride the bench behind them, and it's really cold up there, so I'm going to just go ahead and
hang here. He's from here. His friends are here. He's playing with some buddies. Why not?
Well, South Carolina will still have more fans at their games than UMass. It won't be by much, and it won't look as full. The gym won't look as full, but they'll have more fans, right?
I think that basketball facility up there holds close to 7,000 or 8,000. They have a nice facility. I want to say
3,000 is going to look a lot better in
their capacity. Their capacity is 9,493 people. They'll put in 7,000 to 8,000, which at times is about what Colonial Life Arena is getting.
I might have to unfollow Frank on Twitter because There's a lot of good vibes coming from his Twitter account about how things are going up there in Massachusetts.
Okay. Why? Or put him on mute. Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah, put him on mute.
803-404-6100. We'll continue on. We'll get into some spring football thoughts as we wrap it up. A week ago, tomorrow is when South Carolina took the field. It was on television yesterday. I watched a little bit of it. We'll get into some spring football thoughts. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. Oh, it is working. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For the music bed, because I tend to forget about it. So I drag it into OpEx. That way it'll fire on.
Mhm.
But, don't make me remember stuff. That just didn't work. Yeah. 10 minutes or 3. 5 days. Yeah. I mean, today it's like, well, yeah, but I want to try and do this song.
Split a wrap. I also got a wrap yesterday from Nikki's Pizza in Lexington.
Those are good.
The first one I got, it was great. I got the Buffalo Soldier, the Buffalo Chicken. Actually, wasn't that good. I woke up at 1:30. I've had like indigestion up here. Not even like here. Like it was like sitting right here. It was awful. It was throwing up. And then 4:30, it was just killing me. I got my Comrex back yesterday. The one that they were all in. What's it called? This one. Apparently, I got mine back. The one that I know runs.
Yeah.
So at 4:30, I was like, these take shots. I don't know how well I feel now. I was like, I'm okay. I think I'm all right.
Good.
But,
Well, I had one that one right that was I think it has mozzarella cheese or maybe the sauce or something. Haven't had it in a year.
wrap or
Yeah, but some have a wrap. It was like a chicken. Yeah.
they got. You're right. I like their food.
Yeah, the pizza's good.
That's why I should have got the pizza. But the first time I had their Buffalo chicken wrap, I was like, hey, that's really really good. And then yesterday I wasn't impressed with it at all. And I don't know, you might have just been off date because the other thing was I ordered it and they said it was gonna be like 20 minutes. I waited like 20 minutes and then just drove down there, walked across the street, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be another 10 minutes. But it took a while to get it. So it might have just been an off day for them. So They're fries. They're like kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but more of like a deep fried fry, a little bit more crispy. It has kind of a, it's not like getting them brushes.
Hey, and FYI, if you guys want tickets at some point for the Fireplace game, I actually have a season thing where I have 4 tickets at a high top on the first baseline. So sometimes all I could have to do is just email you tickets. So sometimes you guys want to do that, let me know.
Cool.
That is a business write-off thing. So, we're going tonight, so I'll let you know how the seats are. But
We have a
before.
fully pooled, like, some passes. I think they were VIP passes to Darlington. So I'll say something to Jerry about that. Do you think he'd be willing to?
Yeah, I have no idea. I emailed him this morning and I said, hey, and
$7:24 on a Friday morning, April the 22nd. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen as we roll along. Hayden, Larry, Craig, Hope, Mark, all on the Buford Lending live stream where you can go and join in the conversation. Craig saying there is a music festival in Charleston this coming weekend. I guess he means he is going to that. And I myself will be in Charleston, except for a soccer tournament. Totally different experience than going to a music festival.
What's the music festival?
That's a good question. I don't know. Craig's just bringing it up on the Buford Lending live stream where
I've
you
never
can,
been to a music festival.
you can go and be a part of it. You can also call Buford Lending 843-524-2404. Let Benji Getzy and his team help you. Right now, rates are rising a little bit. They're not at the low levels they were during the pandemic, but they're still very good rates that you can get out there. Call Buford Lending 843-524-2404 with over 25 years of experience in the industry. Benji Getzy knows how to shop and lock your rate in today. So you can visit him on the web, buford.mortgage, or you can give him a phone call, 843-524-2404 to South Carolina's most trusted home mortgage lender. So whether you're a first-time buyer or you're looking to refinance, get some cash back, maybe have it put toward a house project or a great summer vacation, now is the time to call Benji Getzy and Buford Lending. Again, 843-524-2404. That's how you can get in touch with them this morning. When it comes to finding the best mortgage lending service in South Carolina, Benji Getzy and Buford Lending are your team. Allow him to be your broker. 843-524-2404.
Highwater.
Highwater Music Festival.
Yeah.
Who we got?
Headlined by Jack White.
Okay.
Did they break up? The White Stripes?
I have no idea.
That is the guy from the White Stripes, right? Isn't it his sister in it? I think it.
I have no
thought
idea.
It was. So I guess they broke. I don't know if he has songs by himself, but
Clearly he does.
My Morning Jacket.
All right.
Ever heard of them?
Nope.
They're the second headliner. I mean, their name is in the biggest writing, and then Modest Mouse. They have the song "Float On."
Nope.
You'd know the song. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we?
You would know that song, but I don't think you'd know any other songs. I don't know any other songs.
No clue on that. Will.
My girlfriend saw them in Nashville. Said, good at playing the songs. Zero personality though in the individuals.
I can see that.
Zero conversation between songs. Like it was just awkward, but they were good at playing music. Black Pumas, Shovels and Rope, Old Crow Medicine Show I've heard of.
Oh, this is Float On?
Yeah. It's a huge song.
I thought the computer had just gone haywire again and we were wrapping up the hour. I had to look at the clock real quick. I was like, huh,
song plays all the time.
All right. Okay.
Those are all the people I've heard of. I don't know that many musicians though. And this, I don't even know what this is. Is it like alternative music, I guess? Like rock alternative.
Hey, look, man, are you talking to the wrong person on this anonymous text?
You're Mr. Charles. You're Mr. Holy City. You don't know about High Water?
Not a music festival. And I'm a music festival kind of guy. I can get into it. I just that I'd like to go to what is it? Tortuga, I think is what just took place down in Miami. A buddy of mine was down there.
I don't know. Were you about to say I like going to Tortuga?
Well, I was going to say I've been to some music festivals. They used to have a great one here.
No, you don't like music festivals because you were disgusted by the largest music festival in America when you were in Las Vegas.
That was one of the. Well, I wasn't disgusted by it. It was one of the wildest experiences that I've ever seen.
You didn't want to get involved in the Electric Daisy Carnival. What are you doing?
It took a morning and a half to figure out what was going on as I'm trying to get to the casino to place my bet on the Saturday morning football game. And these people barely dressed are coming back off of buses, giving out basically contact highs to if you walked around them. Just
the only way to fall asleep after a night of ecstasy.
Trying to get a cup of coffee and take the noon games, which was the
just trying to place a couple early morning wagers. And all these
wow. All right,
yipped up college kids coming in.
What is going on out here
after the Chainsmokers concert?
It's a wild experience. So 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. Anonymous texter weighing in. My Morning Jacket is awesome. So there's a vote for that song. And
that's not a song. That's a band.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, again,
they're the headliners.
I'll be on James Island. Trey says, where's the soccer tournament? I'll be out at James Island. So I don't know if that's near the, and then Copilot says, Modest Mouse, best song is Ocean Breeze Salty. And another anonymous texter, Old Crow Medicine Show originally sang Wagon Wheel. That's Scott. So thank you, Scott. So a lot of music.
They must be old.
Who?
Old Crow Medicine Show. Wagon Wheel, the original version, I've heard it. Sounds old.
Yeah, I think it is. It's an older song.
Darius is better. Sorry. Just objectively better.
803-404-6100. We'll get into some spring game talk. We will cover that, get Patrick's final thoughts now as South Carolina heads to the offseason. I had a chance to rewatch some of it yesterday on television, so we will get into that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
And yes, summer is here. Soccer tournament time, music festival time. If you want to get out of the music festival, dancing around all day, got to be feeling good. Can't do that if you got joint pain bothering you. So if that's the case, you need to check out our friends at Prisma Health Orthopedics. Prisma Health is the official team physician for the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Clemson Tigers, so you know they'll take care of you the same way they take care of the top athletes in this state. They're also the most comprehensive orthopedic group in the region. They've got 65 specialists across 6 locations, so they can serve you wherever you might be. If hip and knee pain makes your daily life difficult, you need to seek the best care. Find out if that joint pain is affecting your quality of life by getting out to Prisma Health and taking a free health assessment. Don't let that hip or knee pain hold you back. Prisma Health is the region's most trusted orthopedic practice. They have a deep-rooted history spanning nearly a century, and they're leaders in innovative procedures and teaching the next generation of orthopedic physicians. They'll offer a full-service walk-in orthopedic urgent care clinic for all sports injuries, for strains, sprains, fractures, as well as chronic joint pain. And they offer that free health assessment that you need to get out there and take. It is completely risk-free. So again, Prisma Health Orthopedics, they've built a foundation for patient-centered care and innovation that results in the best possible services for their patients. So get out there, take that free health assessment, and see what they can do to help your hip or knee pain. You can learn more by visiting prismahealth.org/orthopedics. That's prismahealth.org/orthopedics. You know the White Stripes, right? Of all those bands, you do know who the White Stripes are.
They were the ones that sang Seven Nations Army, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have T-Mobile or Sprint or whatever it is? My phone is not working properly this morning. Yeah, I got that Amber Alert too. Yeah, I have all bars, but my text messages are not. I don't know. I don't know. Jen, I just reset my phone, and now your text finally came in. That was from 7:19. So I restarted it, RL, like twice. Every time I restart it, everything comes in, and then it like locks up. Or it doesn't lock up, but like my daughter texts me at. My daughter texted me at 6:47, and it just came in. Agitating. Oh, that one went through. Yeah, Anthony, it is. I've got to upgrade. It is time to upgrade the old phone. For a person who works in what I would say Was it his sister or his wife?
Yeah, this is what I was just researching.
Oh.
I'll give the update on the air. But yeah, it was not his sister.
$7:37 on your Friday morning. Coming up in about 30 minutes, we'll catch up with Chris Deering for the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. Countdown is on to the playoff season for both baseball and softball. So we will catch up with Chris Deering and get his take on what's going on around the Midlands with the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. We've talked a lot of South Carolina baseball here throughout the week. Certainly big series against Auburn this weekend. Now 19-17 on the season, 6-9 in conference. We'll get to some spring practice thoughts as well. And Patrick, I think with spring practice kind of wrapping up, it was really, to me, kind of a strange spring practice in that I going in back on March 16th when they started, I thought we would talk a lot more spring practice and we would have more of a focus on what was going on because of the excitement coming off of the bowl game and the landing of Spencer Rattler and his appearance for South Carolina. But I guess given that the NCAA basketball tournament was really good and there was a coaching search in basketball and so many things going on, we really kind of ignored it until last week. But now that we get out of it, now that we're we're about to be a week removed from the spring game, final thoughts as to how spring went. You kept everybody healthy. What you saw from the spring game on Saturday night?
I think it went as well as could be expected. Like the story of year one and kind of how it ended was a lot about building momentum and building the kind of the public perception of the program, getting Spencer Rattler. And when you want to recruit at a high level, you need people talking about you. And that's kind of what this was. We weren't excited about the Duke's Mayo Bowl, but again, it got attention, it got clicks, it got social media, viral videos and things like that. And all these things just built South Carolina into kind of a program that was nationally relevant. So I was happy that after all that buzz and hype, it was a very quiet spring. Like, I think that's exactly what we needed. When you get a quarterback like Spencer Rattler, you don't need people talking about it every day. You don't need the national media hyping him up or anything like that. Just put your head down, do your work, and that's what it seemed like happened. The spring game itself went as well as could be expected. I mean, it was nothing crazy. There's no massive takeaways, positive or negative, and I think that's about the best that you could expect. You bring in what you think are going to be a couple impact transfers and Christian Beal-Smith, who looked solid and has production at the college level, in Juice Wells, who clearly has come in and immediately struck up a great relationship with Spencer Rattler. Like, you filled in a lot of the holes that you need. And on defense, you're returning some senior leadership in the middle of your defense at linebacker that I think is actually going to be an underrated, huge part of the team. Cam Smith's getting some buzz going into the year, so it looks like South Carolina is on track to maybe have another first-round corner, and things are just going well. So I'm glad that it was quiet because I didn't want to exhaust all the football talk in the spring anyway. We'll have all summer to do that, and as a Gamecock fan, I think you can be as happy as possible after this, and now when we get into the summer, if baseball loses this series or loses the next couple series, it's going to be full-on football talk for the next, 4 months? And that's all it's going to be.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I do think as we get closer, I think it was a very good spring. As you kind of said, you get out of it with the opportunity to everybody, as far as we know, is relatively healthy. It doesn't sound like there's any major injuries or things that will be of concern going toward fall camp. So, like a guy like Jaheim Bell, who was obviously out should be perfectly healthy by the time we circle back to the first practice in August. I think that's a very good thing. You go back and Patrick, I'm sure you'll have more time maybe this weekend or in the coming weeks because the SEC network will continue to show the South Carolina spring game. But as you now kind of think back to what you saw from Spencer Rattler on Saturday night, better than expected, not as good as expected, maybe about what you anticipated. RL on our Buford Lending live stream says, as it looks now, Rattler is the first or second best quarterback in the SEC East. And we know your opinion on Stetson Bennett, so we know you're not going to put him ahead of
Stetson Bennett is the second or third worst quarterback in the SEC. I think he's the best. I mean, I Hendon Hooker will be more productive than him this year. I would bet a lot of money on that. But if Spencer Rattler was in that offense, would he not be better than Hendon Hooker? I would probably think that he is. He's going to be the most talented. When it comes to the draft, he'll be the most highly drafted of all the SEC's quarterbacks. I mean, the spring game, I didn't see anything that I didn't know he was capable of,
Right.
and I don't want to say that he looked like he had some incredible command of the offense that I wasn't prepared to see. Like, made routine plays, broke the pocket a couple times. I think he made, you can say, 2 flash plays, the sideline shot to Leggett, and then he broke the pocket and threw across his body, kind of a lob down the sideline that initially looked like it was intercepted, but was hauled in by, I think, Juice Wells. So, I mean, a couple flash plays that just showed what kind of arm you're working with, but also looked like to have a good relationship, took it very seriously, like wasn't out there goofing around. So I do think that from like a temperament standpoint, I think he was hurt by last year. He feels the way people are talking about him and is taking it seriously. And I think he's here for business. I don't think he's here to mess around. Like, he wants to go to the NFL as soon as possible and prove people wrong. And I always want to have a guy like that with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. I always want that guy on my team.
It'll be interesting again to see where the hype gets us when we get to SEC Media Day come July, and then where we're at when we get to the first practice in August, and obviously September 3rd against Georgia State. We'll continue on, get into a little bit of baseball discussion in 20 minutes. We'll catch up with Chris Deering from the State newspaper and Max Red Zone Prep. You can join us all by hitting us up. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. 7:49 on a Friday morning, April the 22nd. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, wrapping up our number 2. We'll get you some audio. Ryan McGee, who was at the South Carolina spring game. Again, I had a chance to watch him, Patrick, chase Shane Beamer all over the field on Saturday night. We'll get you some audio. He talked about Spencer Rattler on Jay and Terry's show earlier this week, and we'll let you listen to a little bit of that coming up in just a second. I'm telling you what, though, to do a morning show with Jen and Patrick, I need a great night of sleep. To be able to go to a soccer tournament this weekend, I need a great night of sleep. All of that, though, is given to me by Sleep Number. I've made the switch 4 years ago and have not looked back since. But that Sleep Number setting on 45, and I'll wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go each and every day. And you can do the same. Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because every great day starts the night before. And now you don't want to miss Sleep Number's weekend special. Save $1,000 on Sleep Number's most popular smart bed, the i8 360 smart bed, plus special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. The deal ends Monday. So you got today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday to get over to a Sleep Number store to check out this great deal, saving $1,000 on Sleep Number's most popular smart bed, the i8 360 smart bed, plus special financing. 2 stores to choose from, one in Irmo and Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. It's the one I go to. Or the one in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. Earlier this week, I don't know what day. I'm not even going to pretend to know what day. Ryan McGee was on with Jay and Terry and talking a little bit about Spencer Rattler. We were just talking about him. Here's what Ryan McGee had to say as it pertained to Spencer Rattler and what he saw on Saturday night.
My buddy Chris Lowe wrote a great piece on ESPN.com that Friday, the 15th, leading into the spring game about, all of these reports about Rattler being a chemistry problem and, a bad locker room guy and all this stuff. That was never the guy I dealt with at Oklahoma. And even when he was being recruited, and that's what Shane Beamer said. That's not the guy I knew at Oklahoma. And I'm telling you guys right now, I watched him even more closely in the second half than I did in the first half when he was on the sideline. And in the fourth quarter, when all the walk-ons and the fourth stringers, all that stuff were in the game, the guy who was leading the cheers was Spencer Rattler. And it wasn't like this fake, hey, I'm going to be a part of the team thing. He knew all their names. And he was slapping butts and shaking hands and smacking helmets.
That's Ryan McGee from ESPN on Jay and Terry's show earlier this week. And Patrick, do you think there's something to Spencer Rattler? There's really, we talk about him, I don't want to say resurrecting his career makes it sound like things went completely haywire in Norman. He had 11 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last year. He threw for over 1,400 yards. I think when he was benched, I know he got benched, but I think they were undefeated at the time, correct? Like, it's not like he lost a game. They were struggling with other things last year.
Well, Caleb Williams had to come in and save the day against Kansas.
Was it Kansas?
I think it was Kansas. Well, he came in with that big touchdown run against Texas, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't
it was
that,
Texas.
Like, the first
I thought
play?
you were going with Texas, with the Texas
Oh, no,
game.
he started the Kansas game.
It was the West Virginia game where Oklahoma only won 16-13 when the fans started chanting, "We want Caleb."
Yeah.
But I guess here's my point. At Oklahoma, the expectation is national championship. I mean, that's what it was. College football playoff national championship. South Carolina fans want a national championship. They want the most from Spencer Rattler. But if South Carolina goes 9-3 this year, people are going to be pretty ecstatic. I mean, they're going to be pretty happy. Would you agree? Maybe you hear Ryan McGee say that some of it is there's not as much pressure here at South Carolina for Spencer Rattler as there would be at Oklahoma. Is that fair?
He can. I mean, in the win column, yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, it's the SEC. I guess it's kind of counterintuitive to say there's less pressure on an SEC school than there would be at Oklahoma. But I mean, there's no 5-star beating down the door behind him. I mean, the number one quarterback is not a year younger than him on the same team. So in that regard, yeah. And I guess the standard of quarterback play is completely different here at South Carolina than it was at Oklahoma when, again, you've got 2 number 1 quarterbacks in the country on the same team, and we were starting an FCS transfer and a guy that came on the team to coach. Like, it's night and day, the situation that each of those schools are at the quarterback position. So, in a way, yeah, it's less pressure, but I mean, not now. Not after you've already in a way failed once. Now it's time to redeem yourself, and if you fail again, like that could be the end of you as we know it. So now the pressure, I would say, is at an all-time high.
I don't know. I just because of the expectation from the school at Oklahoma, the school that is Oklahoma, the expectation to get to the college football playoff to win a championship. I don't know if it's for Spencer Rattler. It's a little bit. I don't. He is a Heisman candidate this year. He's a top 5, 6 candidate. I don't remember the exact rankings we looked at, but certainly we'll continue talking about this. I think it's very interesting to see where Spencer Rattler or how we view him, how he views himself at South Carolina as opposed to maybe Oklahoma. 803-404-6100. Jen, let's get out to Gamecock Larry, who wants to weigh in on the baseball series this weekend, South Carolina and Auburn. Larry, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay, Bill. Thanks a lot. Patrick, I couldn't have written that down any better than the way you said it about the spring game. Now, let's talk about this baseball. I hope we sweep, but we got to win at least 2 out of 3. And no, Bill, this does not change my mind one bit about the coach. But I'm still a Gamecock fan, still a Gamecock. But I want to win all the rest of the games, and I want to go to the NCAA. I want to go to the World Series. I want to win the World Series. But if we do all that, it will not change my mind about this baseball coach. He is not a Gamecock coach. He don't even talk like a Gamecock coach. And I'm going to call you when you get everything squared away in a couple of weeks, and I got it all down. The last 55 years of Gamecock baseball. I'm going to explain to you what we've done in the last 55 years, and we'll go from there. Have a good day, Bill. I still love you, buddy. I love all the Gamecock Nation. I love them all. Oh, Bill, I know you're going to talk about me when I hang up. That's okay. Go Gamecock.
803-404-6100. Coming up here in about 10 minutes, we'll catch up with Chris Deering of the state newspaper for the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. We'll get back into that Spencer Rattler discussion. Some of you weighing in on the text line. If you want to do so, 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Get your word ready. Reggie has not made his pick yet. We usually get that on Friday, so I'm gonna tweet it out as soon as I have his.
Check. 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 Again, that is Check. Check. 8:02 on a Friday morning, final hour of the early game. We'll catch up with Chris Deering here in just a minute for the Corley Pools high school highlights of the week. Got some lacrosse news there about the Chapin girls lacrosse team, Patrick. One win away from their fourth consecutive championship or from their fourth championship
Good for
appearance. How
them.
about that?
State championship, 4 years running. Dynasty.
I guess, yeah.
Good for them.
Good for them. So we got a little lacrosse news. We'll catch up on some baseball and some softball as well. Saw Chris was heading out to a softball game earlier this week. So we will get in touch with Chris Deering here in a few minutes for the Corley Pools high school highlights of the week and get his thoughts and opinions on what is happening around the Midlands here as we slowly close out the school year. I think there's about 6 weeks left in the high school year just of kids going to school, and then we go to the summer. So good for them. Good for the Chapin girls lacrosse team. I see Swansea softball snapped Gilbert's winning streak and took a region lead there. So again, plenty to get into this morning as we talk a little bit with Chris Deering coming up in a few minutes. We've been talking a bunch of different things, Patrick, South Carolina baseball, Debo Samuel certainly still in the news. Spencer Rattler there in the previous segment. And, you know, it's interesting. Les weighs in and says Rattler lost his starting position in Oklahoma to another quarterback. What makes you think he's going to be any better here at South Carolina? If he's what he was at Oklahoma, if he's not any better than he was at Oklahoma, that's a significant upgrade over what South Carolina's seen at quarterback in the last decade.
That's a bad text. I'm sorry.
I mean,
That's a bad text.
He's got a chance to. You look at his numbers last year.
I mean, he lost his job to one of the Heisman favorites and a future number one draft pick. So
likely, yeah. I mean, Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams has since transferred out, obviously, and followed Lincoln Riley to Southern Cal. Who do you think has the better year?
Caleb Williams.
Do you?
Yes.
Statistically speaking?
Yes.
You're just going to go with that because of Lincoln Riley's offense? Because I don't know what exactly Southern Cal. If you haven't seen this week, Texas has done a good job of loading up on the transfer portal and adding some pieces to their program.
We're assuming Quinn Ewers is a starter there, right?
I'm pretty sure that they've handed him the job. Yes.
Did they announce it, or are they giving us a facade of?
I have not looked to see if there's been an official announcement. I've not looked to see if there's been an official announcement there regarding that. So we'll kind of see.
I'm assuming Caleb Williams is going to have a monster year.
Do you think Caleb Williams? I mean, of all you got all these transfer quarterbacks. You got Caleb Williams. You got Ewers. Obviously, Spencer Rattler. Zach Calzada is going to Auburn, where I think he'll be the starter and beat out T.J. Finley, who was another guy who transferred. Max Johnson goes to Texas A&M from LSU. Jaden Daniels to
LSU.
To LSU from Arizona State. I think that's I guess, and he's going to
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix, that's a good one. I forgot about Bo Nix going to Oregon. You get all these transfers.
Oklahoma's going to have Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah. Jackson Dart. Think about what all we just read off as we're trying to remember those names. Texas has got a transfer quarterback. Oklahoma is going to have a transfer quarterback. Southern Cal is going to have a transfer quarterback. I don't know what Florida's going to go with Anthony Richardson. Georgia will have Stetson Bennett. Alabama's
I'm actually
got Bryce
curious
Young.
about that. So Florida will have a returning starter, sort of. Georgia will have a returning sort of. Missouri, I can't remember that kid's name, but he kicked Connor Bazelak out of town, basically. Yeah. So that's an in-house. Tennessee, in-house. Carolina transfer. Kentucky returning. Although Tennessee, Carolina, and Kentucky all starting transfer quarterbacks. Arkansas, Jefferson will be back. So Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, A&M. 4 of the 7 teams, at least in the West, are going to be starting first-year transfer quarterbacks. Most likely. Who's starting Mississippi State?
Will Rogers should be the starter at Mississippi State, I believe. He's recruited a couple. I think he missed, but I think it was Will Rogers who played in the final game for them. And by the way, Les weighs back in. Thank you, Les. And he says JT Daniels, another one to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Again, we've kind of laughed because JT Daniels to West Virginia. There's nothing more 2022 college football than West Virginia and Pittsburgh playing each other this year. And Keaton Slovis and JT Daniels,
Slovis, another one.
two guys who competed for the Southern Cal job, playing against each other on the East Coast now with Pittsburgh and West Virginia. We'll talk more about this coming up this hour. We'll get into this, but now let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines where our good buddy Chris Deering joining us for the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. Corley Pools, flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. You can give them a call, 803-445-8109. Corley Pool Solutions now offering leak detection as well. So give them a phone call, whether you need your pool checked, maintained. They can do it flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals, 803-445-8109. Chris, welcome in. I know it's been a busy week for you as we count down to the end of the school year. The school year not far away, and baseball, softball, lacrosse, all heating up with playoff time.
Yeah, this is the best, for the spring sports. This is the best time of the year. Lacrosse is already in the playoffs. Everybody else will start in the next week to 2 weeks with the playoff action, and just a lot of excitement. Every time I went out to Swansea this week for a softball game, and last night went over to to Chapin for lacrosse playoffs, and the excitement was there. The kids were excited. So I do want to start off with the lacrosse. Patrick, I know this will really get his interest up for this morning. So it was a great game last night by Chapin. Chapin's a really good lacrosse team. They won it, I guess, 3 years ago on the girls' side. 2 years, then the year after that, COVID knocked everything out for the spring sports. And then last year they lost a heartbreaker to Wando in the state semifinals. 9-8. I actually covered that game. I went back and looked at my notes, and I was at that game last year. And they get another crack at Wando Monday night.
What is it with Wando? They are amazing in lacrosse, men and women.
It's a lot of those Charleston area teams. It's Wando, Oceanside Collegiate, Bishop England. They're all really good in lacrosse, soccer. I guess you would call what you would call the country club sports. So I think they just play it. They play it on a higher level in those areas. You have some, people that's moved down there from the from the north, where lacrosse is a lot, more prevalent than it is here in South Carolina. So I think that plays a factor into it. But yeah, Wando's really good. But like I said, Chapin gets a crack at them again on Monday, and those girls were really excited to have that opportunity again to see if they can knock off Wando and get to another state championship.
Lacrosse is a coastal sport. We're known for having great hair, and guys like to just throw around on the beach.
That's what it is. That's what lacrosse is.
Yeah, it resonates in coastal areas.
Makes sense. Chapin is a lake school, not
No,
necessarily.
Wando is though, right?
Oh, that's true. Wando, yeah,
Wando and
okay.
Oceanside Collegiate. Yeah,
I see where you're going with that. All right, yeah. So that now we know how to recruit lacrosse if South Carolina ever has.
we just like to see our hair blow in the wind while we twirl our sticks. It's just a nice aesthetic.
Speaking of hair, the Chapin girls last night all had a red stripe down the middle of their hair and into their ponytail. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
So who they
whatever it takes at this time of year, you got to rally around something.
That's right. Who now? You mentioned say that again. I apologize. Chapin and Wando, and who's on the other side of that bracket for the state championship?
Oh, see, now you put me on the spot.
Oh,
I did not see the results of the upper state last night, so I do not know the answer to that question.
Gotcha. He is he's Chris Deering joining us as he does each and every Friday for the Corley Pools high school highlights of the week. You actually had a chance to talk with Raven Thomas, the coach for Chapin's girls lacrosse team last night, and just the excitement that you were able to get from her and her team. Just kind of share that a little bit as we give them a little bit of love this morning.
Yeah, if you go to state.com, I got the video up from Coach Thomas. You look at her, she almost looks like one of the players. She's really young. Don't know her background, Patrick, so she might be from the north as well. I'm not really sure. But she was excited. The opportunity, like I said, these girls have talked about getting a chance to play Wando again. They actually played in the regular season and not very long ago, just a couple of weeks ago. And Wando got the best of them in that night. It was 15-7. But Raven said they learned a lot. They took a lot away from that game. And I'll tell you, last night they came out and scored 9 goals in the first 9 minutes. They were up 9-1. So it was pretty much decided pretty quickly last night who was going to advance over River Bluff. And she was excited. Like I said, I talked to a couple of the girls afterwards. They were really excited to get another chance at Wando. The freshman girl, Brooke Holmes, scored 6 goals last night. She just moved in from New Jersey at the beginning of the school year. So there's another, transplant from the north. So she was really good. Reagan Finn was really good last night. She's been a 4-year starter at Chapin. So she was there when they won a state championship game as a freshman. And she also was there last year for the heartbreak against Wando. And she was really excited. And I mean, I don't think we got many Wando people listening this morning. We might, but she pretty much came out and said they will win on Monday night. So she almost guaranteed it.
Okay, so there we go. So a little bit of lacrosse talk.
The Joe Namath of Midlands lacrosse.
That's right. I didn't put that in my story because I didn't want to put her on the spot like that. So.
Some good stuff there. So congratulations to those girls and best of luck to them. A couple of things you had a chance to get out to. I saw you were heading to some softball this week. Talk about your trip out. I believe it was Gilbert and Swansea that you went out and give them a little bit of attention this morning.
So that was, Gilbert has been the standard in that region and in that area for softball on the 3A level for quite a few years. And Swansea actually beat them on Tuesday night. And that was the first region loss for Gilbert in 6 years, I do believe. Gilbert is really young this year. They got some 8th graders and freshmen in the lineup. And Swansea they got some seniors. They're not. I think they got a chance to go pretty deep into the playoffs. I'm trying to look up the girl's name right now because it escapes me. The pitcher that they had that night. I can't find it. But the pitcher, they have 2 pitchers. The one's like a finesse pitcher that does a bunch of off speed, a bunch of junk up there to say. And she pitched the game against Gilbert Tuesday night, and they won. And they're going with another senior tonight. So these girls have been in the program since they were 7th and 8th graders. she's more of a power pitcher, so different styles, and I think that's key in softball, especially if you can bring in a contrast in styles in the same game and give teams something different to look at. And Coach Marty Mack, he's been there over 20 years at Swansea. I've known him for a long time, and he was excited to get that win. They play again tonight at Gilbert, so the region's not decided tonight. Pretty much who wins tonight is who will win the region, because Swansea did have an earlier loss to Strong Thurman, but right now they're tied for the region lead, and whoever wins tonight will win that region and get a number one seed in the playoffs to start in 2 weeks.
He's Chris Deering joining us as we take a look around the Midlands and highlight some of the different sports. We've talked some Chapin lacrosse this morning on the women's side, a little softball with Chris. We like to highlight kind of what's going on in the high school scene each and every Friday. It's the Corley Pools High School Highlights of the Week. If you need anybody to maintain your pool, Tracy Corley and his team with 20 years of experience in the industry does a fantastic job. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. Give him a phone call this morning, 803-445-8109. Weekly cleaning. And again, flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. It is more affordable to use Corley Pool Solutions than it is to actually go to the pool store yourself. 803-445-8109. Let's flip over to the baseball side of things, Chris, as we wind down and a lot going on. Midlands teams, Lexington, Brooklyn, Casey, River Bluff, AC, Flora, all with big weeks as we count down. And just kind of give us, as we head toward playoffs, who you like in 5A, 4A, 3A, so on, just kind of who's standing out to you the most right now.
I think, we've talked all year about in 5A. I think it's got to start with Blythewood. They won their spring break tournament in convincing fashion that we talked about last week. Actually, that game was Saturday when they won the tournament, or Friday night. They beat Chapin in the finals. Blythewood is really good. I mean, they got pitching. They can hit the ball out of the park. They got a lot of good, upperclassmen too. They're not young. There's a couple of young guys in the lineup, but they're mainly juniors and seniors. So I think that Blythewood team, and they play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They went the last year's playoff as the top seed, and everybody thought they would be in a state championship, and they actually got eliminated in district play, and that's sort of not set well with them all year, and that they sort of played with that chip on their shoulder, and so they want to get back and make a statement in the playoffs this year. So Banks Faulkner's really got that program in a good spot right now. So I think Blythewood is the team in 5A. That's in the upper state, and they saw the defending state champion in their spring break tournament, and they beat them. And actually, Hillcrest did not have that good a week at the tournament. They lost I think they lost 2 or 3 games, and so I think upper state you got to go Blythewood, and lower state I think there's a number of teams in the lower state that could come out of it. Lexington's right there, River Bluff is there. Don't discount Chapin. That's a good baseball team. Again, that region is just so tough every single night. Dutch Fork is not bad. Then you look at some of the beach schools. Carolina Forest is really good. St. James is good. Then you go down to the Low Country. Berkeley is good. Somerville is good. I think the lower states could be really entertaining. I think there's a clear-cut favorite in 5A upper state in Blythewood, but I think the lower state is wide open with any of those teams to come out of the mix. And you talk about 4A. AC Flora won their region this week. They beat Lugoff Elgin twice. They are playing really well right now. Andy Hallett's won 7 state championships. You can't discount what he does. And when it comes to May, that's when Andy usually has his teams playing the best. And I think this year is the same story. He's got a bunch of seniors as well on that team. I expect them to make a very deep run, if not win it all again. And then, I talked about this team earlier. Dreher is really sneaky good. I think they're going to finish second in that region. So they'll be behind AC Flora and Lugoff, I think, but the 2 losses to Flora this week will fall down to third. And that's a good third place team. Don't discount Lugoff Elgin. They're really good. And then I think you go across the river from downtown Columbia to look at Airport. They got a new coach this year, and he's not missed a beat. They've started they've already clinched their region. They got a number 1 seed, so I think they have a chance to make a deep run. So I talked to Coach Howlett that during his spring break tournament. Eastside is another challenger that we might see in 4A, but I'm putting my money right now on AC4. I think you just got to go there. And then a team we talked about a good bit last week in 3A, Brooklyn Casey. They're playing the no respect card too a little bit. So if you look at some of their Twitter posts from the baseball program, they played well in the spring break tournament. It was sort of a tiebreaker thing of who got in the championship to face Blythewood last week, and Chapin won that. But Brooklyn Casey went 3-0. Really good team. I went over Friday afternoon when I got off with you guys. I did watch them play Berkeley. They beat Berkeley 8-7 in a really good game. Both teams pitched well early, then they got into the bullpen, and didn't pitch quite as well when both teams got into the bullpen. But it was a very entertaining game. They were down 7-2 in that game and came back and won 8-7. So that Brooklyn Casey team is good. They missed out on the playoffs last year. We had a condensed playoff where only the top 2 teams from each region made it, and they lost out to Strong, Thurman, and Gilbert last year. But so they're playing with a little bit of a chip too, and they're playing in their respect card. Nobody's really talking about them. I don't think statewide, and I do think they got a chance to go deep. Oceanside Collegiate is really good in 3A. A&M's really good from the beach area in 3A. But I've always said, in sports, in high school sports in this area, baseball and basketball, if you don't beat a team from the Midlands in the finals, you have to beat one of those teams very deep in the playoffs to get there, because I think that's probably the 2 strongest sports in this area, at least anyway, is baseball and basketball. And I think this year's proven out to be the same thing. And I don't want to leave out Great Collegiate in 2A. Charlie Assey's been a long-time coach in this area. He used to coach at Brooklyn Casey. So I think they have a chance to make a deep run as well.
He's Chris Deering joining us as he does each and every week for the Corley Pools High School Highlights of the Week. Chris will be in playoff season next week. Look forward to catching up with you then. Also, just want to plug Salvador sends in and says, while on the subject of high school, please plug our Football Officials Association. Meetings are about to start. Anyone with interest can go to scfoa.net and find their local director's contact information. We need good guys and women. So anybody who's looking to be an official this year, the Football Officials Association, Chris, seems like something you've done about all of it. Isn't it time for you to get out there and maybe officiate some football?
Well, funny you say that, because I was talking to one of the high school officials last night, and a lot of people know this name. He's been around for a long time. Dennis O'Keefe. He's been around 30-plus years, and he was at the lacrosse last night. And I actually told him, with spring football coming up, I want to go and just be a back judge and go through everything that the officials go through, see what they look for, and just write a story about it. And, we've talked about that for a number of years of doing that. It had never really panned out, but I really would like to do that. I want to sit back there and, I want the official to tell me what he looks for and what is he looking at, and, even go to the line judge and get in all the positions and see what they look for. But that is a good point, that these guys, they need a lot of good young talent in the officiating pool. So I'm not young anymore, but maybe I'll look into that too, Bill.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for sending that in, Salvador. Again, if you are interested in being a football official this season, meetings are about to start. You can go to scfoa.net and find the local director's contact information to be a part of that. Chris, we look forward to catching up with you next week. Have a great weekend, and good luck next week back out there covering a bunch of great high school sports.
Sounds great. You guys have a great weekend. Talk to you next Friday.
Take care. I appreciate it. Look forward to it. He's Chris Deering joining us as he does each and every week. The Corley Pools High School Highlights of the Week. For all your pool solution needs, call Corley Pool Solutions, 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. And now Corley Pool Solutions is offering leak detection. That's right. You might be losing an inch and a half of water, and you're noticing it, but you're not sure what's going on. Corley Pool Solutions are certified leak protection specialists. They can take care of your pool, not just by maintaining it and keeping it clean, but also making sure there's no leaks in it. Call them today. Tracy Corley and his team, 20 years of experience in the industry, 803 445-8109. Whether it's testing of chemicals, vacuum and netting, skimmer cleaning, filter backwashing, Corley Pool Solutions does it all. And again, they do it with flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. So it is actually more affordable for you to use Corley Pool Solutions than it is to go to the pool store yourself and try and get someone who's not looking at your pool to help you. Call Tracy Corley and his team today, 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. We come back, we'll get back into a little bit of spring football discussion, and we need to see if we're going to have our draft. Patrick's, I think, getting a little leery. He might want to wait until Wednesday for our draft on the Wheel of Agony.
Did you see Richard sent a picture of the one chip challenge?
He did. He wants that on there, and I think that's got a good chance.
I'm very, very in on that.
Okay, so there you go. So maybe Jen, it might be time I have to walk out to my car and get our my list of things there. But the Wheel of Agony that will return next week for Wager Wednesday, we might do that as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
I'll do traffic, and then we'll get the that zero stuff knocked out. And a few accidents out there to make you aware of. Let's see. We do still have a report of a tie-up Farrow Road at Hardscrabble Road. Also, a disabled vehicle I-20 eastbound at I-77 might be slowing things down just a little bit, so be careful there. Report of a tie-up up towards Chapin, Murray Lindler Road at Chapin Road. And an accident, I-77 southbound at I-20. Your forecast looking great for the weekend. 83 today, 83 tomorrow, 84 on Sunday. It is 83. No, it's not 83 quite yet. No. Trying to rush it. It's actually 57 at 107.5 The Game.
Big thank you again to Chris Deering for joining us in the previous segment for the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. We will continue doing that with Chris here through the remainder of the year. And I tell you what, Patrick, before you know it, it will be high school football season, and we will have made a full calendar year with the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. So big thank you to Chris Deering there for joining us in the previous segment. Patrick, we kind of been all over the map this morning. Debo Samuel, we've talked about. We talked a little bit about South Carolina baseball, the series this weekend against Auburn, and now we've gotten into a little bit of a discussion. Really, it kind of transformed into the discussion on quarterbacks in the transfer portal, and it wasn't until we just started reading off all the names. Les hit us up and pointed out J.T. Daniel to West Virginia. We forgot about that one. Keaton Slovis to Pittsburgh. If I take Caleb Williams out, because I feel like that's where you would go. If I took Caleb Williams out and you threw in Rattler, you mentioned Bo Nix to Oregon. I mean, who else am I? There's so many. Again, Calzada to Auburn, Max Johnson to A&M, Jaden Daniels to LSU, Dylan Gabriel to Oklahoma, Quinn Ewers to Texas. You get like Jackson Dart to Mississippi. My goodness. Think about what I just said there with all that. Somebody, by the way, transferred to Nebraska.
A lot of people transferred to Nebraska, didn't they? Casey Thompson.
And
someone else did.
Okay.
I think it was Chuba Purdy, maybe.
I mean, again, it's catching me off guard as I'm reading it out loud, as I'm saying it out loud. The amount of transfers that are out there that have
it's so hard to keep up with.
That what's going on with college football now when you think
Connor
about the quarterback.
Indiana.
Connor Bazelak.
It was Chuba Purdy and Casey Thompson battling it out at Nebraska.
I mean, you're basically, you can recruit a high school quarterback. And to me, Patrick, that's what South Carolina did. They took two in this class, Braden Davis and Tanner Bailey. You can't, I don't know how you keep a quarterback room now, but all right, if I take Caleb Williams out and all these names that I just gave you, and I've got one that I'll throw out who has the best year because of the offense he's in. Who has the best year, you think, of all the transfer quarterbacks? So now we're eliminating Bryce Young and Stetson Bennett and some of these guys. Who of all the transfers has the best year?
Jackson Dart.
Oh, we're on the same page.
Yeah, that offense is too perfect for a quarterback. I mean, Matt Corral his draft stock is going to be hurt by how collegey that offense is, but it was so good for his production. Now, Jackson Dart's more talented than Matt Corral, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's probably got a stronger arm. Matt Corral's got a rocket, but Jackson Dart, I think, appears to be more physically talented than even Matt Corral was. He's more highly recruited, I think. So I think he should be able to hit the ground running. And Michael Trigg, I'm obsessed with him. I think he's going to be incredible this year. There's going to be targets there. And Lane Kiffin just knows what he's doing. He just knows how to scheme offense. So he's probably going to put up huge numbers.
Yeah, if Mississippi, you look at that schedule, Patrick, and let me just read you their schedule there, the first 6 games. And you talk about Jackson Dart maybe getting off to a hot start. Troy, Central Arkansas, at Georgia Tech. Probably should be 3-0 in the non-conference. Then they get a little bit of a test because I do like Kentucky. Kentucky goes to Oxford on October 1st. Then they're at Vanderbilt. You look at those first, and I left off Tulsa. I'm sorry. They also play Tulsa on Saturday, September 25th. Their first 4 are Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, and Tulsa. They should be 4-0 in non-conference. Then you get Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Not unreasonable that Mississippi with Jackson Dart, all the love that could be coming his way, is 6-0 when they head to when they get
and ranked
Auburn,
in the top 10.
Ranked in the top 10. They get Auburn on October 15th. But then listen to the schedule. It goes Auburn, at LSU, at Texas A&M, bye week, Alabama.
That's SCUS. It's got to get difficult at some point.
It is kind of crazy. Actually, they make their run through the SEC West in 5 straight, throw in Mississippi State, 6 straight consecutive weeks. Like you get your non-conference games and you get your 2 East teams, Kentucky and Vanderbilt, in the first 6 weeks. And then the back half of your schedule is the entire SEC West. Mississippi's an intriguing team because of what you mentioned with Lane Kiffin. And I'm with you. You look at these quarterbacks and moving around. Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers could be really interesting, but Ewers being a freshman still has got to get out there and actually play, or he'll be a redshirt freshman. But I'm with you on Jackson Dart going to Mississippi and possibly being the best of the transfer quarterbacks because of that offense.
I am kind of high on Quinn Ewers, though, just because I think Sark is also that type of dude. Like, it was a tough year for Texas, and I don't know exactly why that was, but he is also an offensive genius. I mean, Alabama had that thing rolling when he was there as well, so I do kind of believe in him. I don't know. I don't know if I should buy in on Dylan Gabriel though. I was never like amazed by him at UCF.
I think his number. You got to go back and look at his numbers, Patrick. I think they were pretty sound.
They probably never lost a game.
Well, they lost a game.
Just one.
There was some.
He's a national championship winning quarterback.
It's true. It is interesting again to scroll through and look at transfer quarterbacks and where everybody's kind of at now.
And is that I guess that Oklahoma offense will somewhat resemble Ole Miss with Jeff Lebby being there. I don't know what he took from Lane Kiffin or who was most responsible for that offensive success, but it's interesting. It's a lot of just so much movement.
And they did bring back one of the big time receivers who thought about transferring out. It's going to be interesting. Virginia Tech also is another school who picked up a transfer in the offseason. And I only say that because over the weekend, they had their spring game. I think it was this past weekend, might have been 2 weekends ago. And Jason Brown obviously transferring up there. We'll see if EJ Jenkins follows him. But Jason Brown really struggled in their spring game, just 3 of 10 up there. Now he played with the second team, and the second team offensive line got him beaten up pretty soundly. But it'll be interesting to see if Jason Brown can go up there and get a starting spot somewhere during the season and take Virginia Tech to a bowl game or improve his maybe draft stock for next year.
Are we assuming that EJ Jenkins ends up there?
I think that's the general consensus that those
he'll
two guys
definitely get an offer.
I don't know.
Is that what you're saying?
I have no idea.
He never. I mean, what do you have? He had a touchdown for South Carolina. Maybe 2. I think he had 2 touchdowns.
If Virginia Tech's got if they've got a couple scholarships to give, I think you take a chance on him.
Might as well.
I don't see why you don't. You give him a shot and you see what he can do. 803-404-6100. We got to have our Wheel of Agony draft. That's right. Jen is going to get out into her woodshed this weekend, carve us up a nice little wheel. Starting next week, Wager Wednesday will be back. We're each going to pick 4 items to put on the Wheel of Agony that Jen will make look very pretty. And next week, we will start the Wheel of Agony. It'll start with Patrick Perrett trying to pick, or we'll have to exactly come up with this. I'm leaning toward 24 out of 32 first rounders. I think somebody said 26. So
26 is an outrageous number.
You really
That's
only
so
gotta pick,
high.
You should get the first 20, right? Like
I feel very confident about 18.
Okay, you feel confident with 18. 30.
24 is a very substantial number.
No, but that only means 8 falls out of the first round.
Only 8. There's a tier of like 40 guys, 50 guys that could be.
Oh, Patrick.
I'll do 24.
Patrick is trying to sell us on this.
No, I'll do 24.
He's trying to sell us on this.
I'm not getting a spray tan if I get 23.
Oh, you're getting it's not up to you. It's what the Wheel of Agony decides, and that's what we'll draft that next. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Trying to stay warm in your house, trying to maybe have the air conditioner on. Right now, weird weather. Of course, it is Columbia, South Carolina, and you're probably accustomed to it by now. But the key is having a heating and air system that works properly. You need to have that because, telling you what, the summer months are coming, and that's why I rely on AAA Heating and Air. You need to as well. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. The next 60 days, April and May, AAA Heating and Air has their pre-summer sale going on. $1,500 system buyback. They'll actually buy back your old unit with an instant rebate. And then 0% interest for 60 months for well-qualified buyers. But you know what? It doesn't matter. No matter your credit, if you're worried about being able to qualify for one of AAA Heating and Air's great programs because you need a new heating and air unit, they guarantee financing. So even if you have bad credit, AAA Heating and Air is going to work with you. If you don't need a new unit and you just need maintenance right now, new customers can get $49 for a pre-summer maintenance package. Call AAA Heating and Air to find out what they can do for you. 803-677-1500. And with their transparent repair pricing, you don't have to worry about a technician coming out there and pulling one over your eyes, tricking you into thinking you need more. That's right. AAA Heating and Air treats you like a family member. They've taken care of me in the past. They'll take care of you now. Give them a phone call, 803-677-1500. And the absolute best part, in my opinion, about AAA Heating and Air, they offer you a 15-year parts and labor warranty that's actually transferable to the next homeowner. That means they're going to stay there with you after they take care of your heating and air unit. So call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. That's AAA Heating and Air. Give them a phone call. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. No, Craig. You got vetoed. No drinking on air. They stepped in and said the drinking on air seemed poor.
Not for this market.
Yeah, not for this market. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question, Larry. Will Miami be more like Oregon? All right. Are we back? Reminder, anything you miss on the program, you can go to our website, 1075 The Game, click on the podcast tab at the top, and listen to any interviews you've missed from this past week. J.C. Sherbert, Kyle Thompson. We just had Chris Deering on. Who else am I leaving out? I think Perry Orth was on earlier this week. Brad Crawford this week. I think that's about right. So anything you missed? You thinking of any others?
No.
No. Jen also puts up a bunch of these segments throughout the week. So anything you missed, go to 1075 The Game. We also have a Spotify page for those of you who have a Spotify account, and you can go to that, search 1075 The Game, the early game, and Jen does a great job of getting that audio up there as well on Spotify. So we ask that you go click subscribe, follow, do whatever it is necessary there on our Spotify page. All right, we are bringing back the Wheel of Agony. Actually, we're creating a Wheel of Agony. We've never had a Wheel of Agony. We've just done Wager Wednesday, and then we come up with some goofy punishment for whomever loses. Now we're really getting official with this. Jen, the known carpenter of the program, albeit slightly clumsy because she nearly lost a finger earlier this
Oh my
week.
gosh. It's a splinter that went kind of deep under the nail bed.
Oh, God.
Wasn't a big deal.
Oh.
Do you want to see the.
No.
Really?
No.
It's not bad now. It's just kind of a bruise.
I just realized looking at the live stream doesn't help because that's actually a better view of it than staring at you through the window.
I'm really disappointed it was my pinky, though, because I would have loved to show you it better if it was a different finger.
Nasty. All right. So Jen is the carpenter of the program, and she's going to whittle
Kind
us the clumsy carpenter of the program. She's going to whittle us a Wheel of Agony from which will hold 12 punishments.
We as in all of us.
We spin it.
Jen's not picking picking her.
No, you pick what you want to put on there.
Yeah, but she's not picking based on what she wants us to do.
Right.
Let's
she's
make
picking,
that clear. She's part of this.
Right. Yeah. Jen,
I can run the
this.
board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick, Jen's a part of the program.
I don't know how I got roped in. I usually get,
Oh, no, you're part
Yeah,
of
because
this.
I know Jen was just going to pick the worst possible things because she thinks it'd be funny. But
oh, no.
if she knows that she's on the line as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jen's a massive part of this show, and if she loses one of these wagers, she has to eat a Carolina Reaper chip or whatever we have. She has to go outside. I would love for Jen to be outside on Gervais Street having to give a karaoke concert. I would love that.
Well, I was going to say that things have changed over the years because, I did do like solo and ensemble competitions where I actually used to be able to sing. Not so much now, I don't think.
RL says this one a wedge. I thought a wedgie. That was actually going to be, that might actually now make us that we get to give the loser a wedgie.
Because we're all 12.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do the draft here. We're each going to pick 4. We're going to go in order here. It is the Wheel of Punishment that Jen will create. We'll do this next Wednesday for the start of the NFL draft. That'll be our first one. It'll be a Wednesday thing, Wager Wednesday. So, all right. So we'll just start with Patrick and we'll go to Jen and then I'll pick third. You should have if it's something that we haven't even mentioned and you want to put it in there again. Yes, all 3 of us are a part of this.
Yeah. I'm forgetting something.
And I'll also say the wager will have to come up with an extra punishment, like you owe a $10 bill or something that we'll donate to charity, or $20. Make it if you don't complete it by the following Wednesday.
Okay.
You got a week.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Because, like I said, the stomach thing concerns me a little bit, but
Yep.
But I like that aspect.
Okay. All right.
I want the chip.
All right. So there is a chip challenge. We'll have to do it. Huh?
Pocky,
whatever.
Pocky,
yeah. Chip challenge. So that is number 1. So we will that goes on the board. Jen, what are you taking?
Hang on, she's closing the door. What are you taking, Bill?
No, I'm going to let you.
A little I love the pregnancy belly.
Pregnancy belly. Have to wear a pregnancy belly up and down Gervais Street. That will be on the Also funny if Jen gets that
Right.
one.
I'll have a lot of people asking questions.
Count me in for the karaoke concert outside. Loser has to do a 2-hour karaoke. We will give you breaks in between it to come in and talk about what's going on. But outside of our studio right here, we do have a radio station, so we'll be able to put a mic and.
Well, it should just be you maybe like either one song or one song an hour. You're not just getting a break to stand outside and like every once in a while. Sing.
We'll come up with the definition of that if karaoke concert pops up. All right, back to you.
Staying spicy. Now I want the Reaper.
All right. So you got to eat the actual Reaper pepper. So
Yeah.
the chip and the Reaper.
Two different things. I think the
right.
Reaper is substantially worse.
We're going to need to get in touch with our good buddy Richard here on the text line.
Yep.
He is probably going to have to help us with some of this here. All right, that's 4. Jen, 5.
I kind of like the workout.
The bar
my
3 workout with
bar
you?
3
All right,
workout.
Jen's
Yep.
going to.
Try to torture you there.
So I tell you what, it'll be workout. It'll be workout, but if one of us wins, Patrick, you're a well-known workout non-enthusiast, so you would get to demand that one of us has to do some kind of like go run laps around the State House or something.
Okay, or just last place.
Huh?
Or I have to take 2 classes or something.
Oh, you make her do 2 classes? I
Yeah.
highly doubt it'll be a punishment for you if you have to work out.
Yeah,
like that's one that you're
for sure.
Okay, workout, Barth. All right. There's another one. I talked with Tony Annan yesterday. By the way, Tony Annan will be joining us in studio. South
This
Carolina
one
men's
is
soccer
under
coach.
protest.
Having the players kick the
Yeah,
ball.
because
at you?
I feel like this should just be something we do regardless as content, and it shouldn't just be a punishment.
All right. I'll miss that because we are going to have a soccer workout day. With some of the players. So, all right, I'll take that away. All right. So, number 6, I'm going to go with I'm going to go spray tan.
Milk gallon.
That's the one I least want right there.
Yeah.
You want to?
I don't remember any of the other ideas.
You better hurry up and figure one out. You got one more pick.
Taser.
No, we're not doing taser. No, we're not doing. I'm vetoing that one. As president of this new association we're creating, I'm vetoing that one. I'm not being tased. This is not the hangover.
You get about a little over a minute to get this handled.
What you got? 8. What you got? 8.
Playing the instrument down the
flute.
Yeah, flute.
Flute down Gervais Street. Fingernail painting. That's 9. Last one, Patrick. What do you got? Or do you guys want me to come up with the final 3? I feel like you guys have completely freaked
How many
out.
donuts is the most that is reasonable to expect to be eaten during a show?
What was it that
a dozen's too many, I think.
No, it was like all right, we'll stop at 9. We're at 9. We got 9.
Donuts.
We
That
will
gets us started.
Donuts.
That's okay.
10 donuts.
Donuts.
8 donuts?
That's it. Hold on to that thought. We'll research over the weekend. We're at 9.
Yeah.
We'll
We're a
get
donut
3.
show, so
we'll
donuts
get
should be a
we'll
part
get
of it.
3 more next week. I'll send in my pick. You guys can do it. I'll be out Monday and Tuesday. I'll be back from the house on Wednesday. Yeah, no, not a dog shot. We're not trying to like physically injure somebody
Exactly.
here.
And we really don't want to get people sick either. It just has to be something that's more, could be a little embarrassing or something like that.
We will.
Well, since nobody wants to do the milk, I will drink a gallon of chocolate milk if I don't get 24 draft prospects.
Okay.
Well, I'll be back.
I don't mind throwing up.
I'll be back on Wednesday.
I'm not a fan.
I'll be back on bottom of this. Y'all have a great weekend. Patrick, Jen, good luck on Monday and Tuesday. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care.
All right, everybody. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Take care.